Hello, welcome one and all. It's Fox from modelmaking.guru here. Hello, welcome, it's Warhammer Sunday, that time of week when I crack on with some Warhamsters. Yes, apologies for the ever so slightly late start. I had to go and press some more buttons because I did some bits and stuff, and yeah, I was running a couple of minutes late there. But welcome one and all, it's that time of the week when I crack on with some Warhammer, and as you can see I'm joined by my very good friend and partner, Guthorm, of course. He's got his intelligence glasses on, he's got his smarticles, so he's very smart when he's wearing them, he's very intelligent. Not that intelligent. Yes, welcome one and all. Before we get going, all the usual thanks to throw out. First of all, massive thank you to all my lovely patrons who support me at patreon.com/modelmakingguru, just like it says there. And of course, all my channel members, my YouTube channel members who support me by pressing the join button at the bottom of any of my videos. Both those groups of people support this channel, keep this channel going, keep it alive and well. So a massive thank you to them. And also to my corporate supporters, we have Goblin Gaming. .co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your tabletop gaming needs, and of course emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. So make sure to check those two guys out. Both of them, links for both of those are in the description below the video. You can see I added the emodels graphic because I forgot that for months and months. I left that one out. Sorry guys. Make sure to go and check them out. Links in the description below. You get loads of savings. I'm going to close my door one sec. There we go. Yes, welcome. As always, it's one of my streams, so the whole point of this stream is to hang out in the chat. I've got the chat here, you can see. I'll put Guthorm in the chat position where he's going to go and read the chat. There you go. Good lad, you look after the chat. It's all about joining in the chat, having a good time. It just happens that I'm in the background doing stuff, so pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Swig of coffee. Now, if you remember last time we met, I was working on the... What was I doing? The bubble butt fat knacker or something? Oh, I've forgotten which one it was now. The boom dingle spam dangler or something. I can't remember. Anyway, I kind of might have finished that, and I keep forgetting to get it out. Hang on, I forgot. Oh, done it again. Let me get it out. Matron, it'll probably fall apart. Yes, there you go. Lovely. There you go, it's the Lover Duck Spam Whacker or whatever it was. I don't know. I actually finished it. It's loose assembly. I did a loose assembly just to basically get it ready for painting. I haven't glued the driver in. It's the I can't remember which one it is now. The Ringle Dingle Spam Bomb. I can't remember the stupid names. So anyway, I glued the roof together, glued the dude with the gun at the back together, glued the grill together. This isn't attached permanently because I need to paint the inside of that separately, and I want to be able to get into there and paint the cam belt. So that's loosely attached. That goes on there like that. I've got the driver installed but not glued in, so I can pop him out again. He's going to be painted separately. I've got the roof here. I've glued the sides on, and I've also glued in the grot, the passenger grot, and the grot on the back. That will sit on there, and the dude, the gunner at the back, he's assembled but again not permanently installed, so I can paint him separately. And I've got this bit that goes on the front of the gun, but that's just loose to one side. So that is now ready for painting and priming, or rather priming and painting in the future. I do like that. It does look mint, that does. It does look absolutely mint. So yeah, I kind of finished building that. You can see on the main gun, there was a little seam line here. Now this is like a little ribbed section like you get on a plasma rifle. It's like a little sort of ribbed section. And there was no... I tried to get rid of the mould line or the seam line, the gap that I'd filled. But it's such a fine little ribbed texture. It's not like a plasma rifle in scale. That it was almost impossible to get rid of without killing the texture. So what I did was simply got some plastic card and covered it over. Made it look like a greeble. There's 3 little bits of plastic card in there. Can I zoom in a bit for you? Hang on, let me... do some zooming skills. Everything wobbles. Not really, not much. I've made a couple of little greebles on there just to create a little plastic widget that just looks like it's part of the weapon. It just kind of fits in a little. It just looked better than the half-arsed attempt I had at trying to clean up the sort of the ridged pattern, which was quite tiny and hard to clean up. So yeah. So that's that done. That's the big fat collie wobbler or whatever it is. I just really can't remember. So that will go and be stored away. Store it away over there on top of some crap on my desk. So yeah, I may have kind of started building the next one because I was sort of pushed for time. Not pushed for time. I was pushed for something to do, and I wasn't in the mood to carry on with the Lehman Russ because I wasn't in a painting frame of mind. So I may have gone ahead and started on the Boomdakka Snazzwagon. And by started on, I mean I've built the frame and I've built all the bits. I've just got to finish building a couple of grots. And yeah, it's kind of done. Now I've got to tell you, on these tyres, they are pretty nasty for the seam line. Getting rid of the seam line on these, I've not fully got rid of it yet, and I'm not sure if I will, because it's between the spikes and it's an absolute ball ache to get it off. Yeah. So anyway, I'll have a look at the chat in a second. So we're going to carry on with this today, or rather I'm going to get this finished today. If I get it finished in time, I've just got a couple of grots to build, I think. Then I will just crack on with what comes after this, the next thing to build. But I'll show you what we've got so far. We've got the main chassis and engine. I've built it in sub-assembly so that I can access things to paint. As it stands at the moment, I can pretty much, I'm hoping, I can actually get in there to access the interior gubbins for painty purposes. I've not stuck the grille on the front, because, or the bull bar I should say, because I want to be able to access the front of the engine, but that just sits on there like that. Hang on. Just let me put my proper seeing glasses on. The magnification devices. There we go. So that just sits on the front there like that. If I can line it up properly without being ham-fisted. That just sits on the front, but I've left it off just to leave that bit exposed so I can paint details on that. Again, we've got a cam belt in there. I don't just want to paint that one single metallic colour because that's a bit rubbish. Now the beauty of this is the driver is a pig to get in. I've left him out, but you kind of have to push him in and then force him under this roll bar here. So it's a bit of a fudge, but I can't glue his arm on. What I'm going to do when I've finished him, you haven't glued any of his arms on yet. I have a separate arm with the steering wheel. My plan for him is quite straightforward. What I'm going to do is put him in place, which is a bit nerve-wrangling because you have to push him under there like that. Push him under. It's not really clear in the instructions how that goes in. It just says insert it. So you kind of have to push him under like that, so his head's sticking out. A bit like that. And he's in place. He's not going anywhere. I'm not going to glue him though, because when he does go in, he'll be fully painted up. And if I start trying to glue him into place down there, it's going to make a mess of the paint job. So he's going to go in there. Then I will install and glue into place his arm, his steering wheel arm, which I can't quite do now because I've not got my angles and my tweezers out. So that will go in and hold him in place. If I can I get my, I need my tweezers really. But that basically goes in the hole in the dashboard and glues onto his shoulder. Now there's a big gap there where I can get some glue in there. So that will glue in, that will lock him in place after he's painted, keep in mind. And then his other arm goes on like that. So that will be, when he's all installed with the steering wheel, I can then glue this arm on finally, because I'm not confident that if I glue that arm on now, which hangs down like that, I'm not confident I'll be able to get him in if that arm's on there. It'd be too much of a fiddle, so I'm leaving that off. It does mean I'll have a gap around his arm. I can live with that. So that's him. And now the beauty of this particular vehicle that I haven't got with the other ones is he can be locked in by the arms when I glue him in. There is a gun that goes here. There's like a stubber that sits here. And I didn't want to glue it in because it's a real tight fit. But the beauty of it is, it's a very tight fit. And when you put the roof on, you're supposed to glue the roof on, it fits to these little attachment points. What you can do is, if you kind of finagle it and force your way in, you can just about get the roof in, like that. And the roof now holds in place that gun. It's not going to come out. So I don't need to glue that gun in. I don't need to glue the driver in. Apart from once he's in, I can put his arms on. And that's in there. And then we have on the back, we have this Ork with the big massive set of weapons. He's attached to the gun so that I can take him off and paint him separately. That just sits in there. Like that. So I can glue the gun in place, and that glues the figure in place by default. Just glue. There you go, that's him. There's a couple of little grots as well. And I've not put the wheels on yet because I want to do a bit more tidying up on them, possibly. I don't know yet. I started to clean the seams off them. The mould lines here, they go around the edges. But it's a right pain in the bum. I'm not sure yet, but I need to keep these off for painting as well. So that's where I'm up to with that. Now, I say the reason I'm doing all this fiddliness and not gluing stuff, I don't need to glue the roofing because it stays in place. If you're painting in sub-assemblies, you need to keep in the back of your mind how you're going to glue things without destroying the paint job. So, for example, the reason I've glued him and him together, or the him and that together, is because if I glued the gun on the roof and then installed it, then what if I put him in place and I can't quite get him to go in the right position? What if, because the butt of the gun, the grip, is actually in his hand and it's not part of the gun. So I didn't want to be kind of getting the gun and him together and trying to get them to fit and getting glue everywhere, because it was actually quite a messy job with the glue to get that. I had to do it with super glue in the end, because polystyrene cement, it was taking too long to set and they were both moving. So I knew that if I left these painted and then tried to glue them, I'd be making such a mess with the glue that I'd just ruin the paint job. So it's better if I can get them assembled together, and then I can make sure they're all lined up together without worrying about the paint job. It was a bit of finagling to get them all lined up and looking correct, but it came out well in the end. And also with this dude, there are some little gaps in him because he didn't go together brilliantly. The two sides of his body don't fit together perfectly, so there's a gap down there in his arse area. I might need to do something with that with some sprue glue perhaps. So it's always worth, when you're doing these kind of things, just really carefully think ahead as to what you can sub-assemble. Two things. First of all, what can you assemble that still gives you access to everything to paint? And I'm fairly confident I can still get to most of, because most of that's just going to be like, metal colours. And then what can you sub-assemble that means, what can you leave off that you can attach later without making a mess of the paint job? So when I come to glue the wheels on, I can simply scrape paint off there and in there and glue it, no problem, not going to get a mess. When it comes to his arm, on this side, I can simply lock it in place and touch a tiny amount of glue to it, because it will be in the right position anyway, because it locks into the dashboard. So that's just a case of touching the glue to it. I can be very careful. If you've got two parts and they're painted and you've got a little gap, you can touch the extra thin and it'll go into the gap. And if you're lucky, it won't make a mess. But if you start having to splosh glue everywhere, that's when you start ruining your paint job. And also keep in mind as well, if you've got two painted surfaces, paint on there, and you try and glue them together, it's not going to stick very well because it has to get through the paint as well as the plastic. If it's a welding cement that melts the plastic, it can't get through the paint. So keep in mind how things are going to go together, your painting order in that, and also what you can feasibly leave off and glue later on without making a mess. The bull bars on the front here, there's little recesses, there's little nubs. I can simply scrape a tiny bit of paint off there and then just plop it into place. It's 4 little nubs, 4 little recesses. That's not going to be a challenge at all. That'll be perfectly easy. That'll stick, and that won't make a mess of the paint. With the guy on the back, I've left... what else was there? Oh yeah, the driver again. This arm just snicks into place there. Clunk. So I can put it in place and just touch the brush to it, or even put some glue on there first, scrape the paint off, and do that, and just get it in place. So that should be fine. I should be fine with that. The only thing I've got left to do on here is a couple of grots. So I'll have a quick look at chat first, then we'll get that done. And then I think we'll just move on to the next thing then. I'm not going to clean up these tyres on camera. I'll do that off camera. Basically, you've got a little seam line that goes all the way down there. This is a moulding line, and one over there, not down the middle. And they're between and round all the little spikes, and it's an absolute pain in the backside to get them off with a knife. I got bored last night trying to do it. So I'm tempted, I might just leave them, because I know they're going to get covered in mud anyway, so we shall see. So have a quick look at chat anyway. Oh, you can see I've put some more greebles on as well. There was a big gap, a mould line or a seam line between the two halves of these bronzy parts on the frame. I couldn't really get in there to sand it down because of the spikes, so I just put a strip of plastic card and stuck 3 rivets on it. It kind of fits with the aesthetic. Looks kind of cool. So I was assuming so you can see that maybe a bit. Yes, there they are. Little strips here. You can't really see the rivets, but there are 3 little rivets on each one. And it's just a way to cover up that seam, because I couldn't get a sanding sponge in there. It was too tight. I couldn't get the knife blade or the scraper in there. So I just thought, you know what? Do the old thing. Plastic card, rivets, fantastic. That's why I like the Ork stuff. You can cobble together fixes. One other thing I've done as well. Where have I done it? If I look, you might not see it, but here on this part, there is actually some easy line wrapped round that shock absorber head there. On that side there isn't. On this side there is. And that was purely because when I cleaned it up and got rid of the little gaps between the two parts, there was a little bit of a gap. It didn't quite fit. I might have carved a bit out too much with the knife blade. So all I did was, instead of trying to fill it in, because the glue hadn't filled it, just got some easy line, wrapped it around and glued it in place. It fits with the other parts of the vehicle where there's bits of stuff wrapped around. And again, it fits with the Ork aesthetics. Just make it up. Anyway, let's have a quick look at chat before we get going. There's quite a lot of chat, so I've missed quite a chunk. I'll have to whiz through it quickly. We have Lynn Dipple is in because she's on a weekend off today, so welcome Lynn. Pascal Leaverse is in, welcome Pascal. Nim, Mayhem Model Works, Raging Model and B3, all of them are in. Welcome Steve and everybody else. Dan Kramer from the Miskatonic University podcast, I always remember that. Where are we? We have, there's a lot of conversation. David Sanderson's in. If anyone's watching this, by the way, if you're watching this and you can't see the chat, I don't have the chat here anymore. Why have I not got the chat there anymore? That's the point. Can we activate the chat box? It'll take a second to load. So there'll be nothing in there for them. But yeah, if you're watching this and you can't see the live chat, do come and join the live chat. It's a great place to hang out. It's a safe space. I do this so you can have somewhere to hang out. But at the same time, like I'm about to tell you, you can ask questions of each other. You can ask questions how to do things, model making, and I might not know, but somebody might. For example, David Sanderson says somewhere, has anyone on here have any experience in World War I model planes and the best way to go about building? I haven't got a clue. I've not built a World War I plane since I was like 10, so I can't really tell you. But someone watching this may have an idea or may be experienced. So if you built your World War I biplanes, your SOP with camels and your SPADs, get in the chat if you're not in there already and tell David how he can do it. My only advice was, of course, they're going to be mostly wooden frame and canvas, the planes themselves. So keep that in mind. My guess would be you want a lot of matte textures and matte finishes for the canvas and maybe an ever so slight sheen for the wood parts. Not all of the wood parts. In fact, maybe none of the wood parts. But yeah, you want matte finishes for your canvas because canvas was painted canvas basically. So it would be a sort of matte texture, I would guess. And also to use, instead of rigging, don't use thread for rigging, for all the rigging between the wings and the poles. Don't use thread at all. Not ever use thread. Use something like Easy Line or Ammo by MIG rubber rigging line. He says he's already got some of the ammo stuff, so he's set on that. You don't ever use thread because thread is horrible. You have to tie it in knots and it goes fuzzy if it gets wet. So with Easy Line or the rigging, the ammo rigging, it's rubber, it doesn't fuzz, and you just use super glue to attach it. You saw me do it last week. You just attach two parts. It's dead easy. Mayhem Model Works is in. Welcome, Mayhem. We have, who else has come in? People are talking about biplanes and that. Chris at Gross Models, one of your moderators, is in. Welcome, Christopher. Wayne Haywood says, afternoon, everyone. I may skip over a lot of the chat, so I do apologise. I've got to catch up. Where are we? Graham M. Hello again, Lynn, says Graham M. I'll try to join in a bit more this time. I was working on my boat during Colin Dave's show. Cool, you got a boat. I mean, I know it's a model boat, not a real boat. Rich, hang on lads, I've got an idea advice. Afternoon Fox and Co. Hope you like the new easy name tag. Rich, hang on lads, I've got an idea. I can't do the accent. Sorry. I know it's English. I can't do it. Mayhem and Graham are talking in French. C'est bon. Space Hamster does H. I'm starting. Bench 100 scale Gundam Gusion. Belly not much, but I'm having cheese and bacon sausages later. Yes. Yes, bench and belly. What are you working on? What's your current craft project or model or any kind of creative thing? And what's your dinner for tonight, or what have you had for your dinner? I'll zoom back out again. No, I'll stay zoomed in. I don't mind staying zoomed in. Scale Model Muse is in. Welcome, Muse. We have, who else? Ostrich 90 Batrillion. Osterreich 90 Batrillion is coming. Welcome, Osric. Spam Grappler, he says. We have Space Hamster ZH. Muse is giggling for some reason. I probably shouldn't ask why. Finn the Dude, afternoon all. Welcome, Finn. Sterling Mud, says David Sanderson. Yes, I'm thinking with the seams on these tyres, they're going to get some mud. I mean, I'm going to weather it anyway, but yeah, when it comes to wheels and tyres, if you've got like seam lines you can't get rid of, mud fixes everything. Right. Some accents. Do I need a translate button for chat this week? Says Chris at Gross Models. Mayhem Modelwork says ham-fisted spam dangler Waznagan spam-fisted ver. Yes. EC Idaho's in. It's his tongue hanging since his head is out the window. That's the orc leaning out. No, he's about to throw a Molotov cocktail in his right hand. But he has got his mouth open, I think. Because it's a Boomdakka Snazzwagon. It's all about explosive Molotov cocktails and stuff and throwing grenades. He's not quite got his... They've missed out on that. They've not quite had his tongue hanging out, which is a bit of a shame, really. The only thing with these guys is they've got, like, tattoos moulded into them. You're supposed to paint, like, a sort of flame tattoo effect on them, which is fine, except some places where I've had to glue them together, the little lines have got a bit softened, and I can't quite tell where they're supposed to be, so it might come out looking a bit weird when I actually prime them and paint them. Don't know yet. Festa 67's workshop is in. Hey Colin, welcome. Thanks for coming along. Sorry for the fast ending though, says Cole. Yeah, he had to finish his stream because Colin and Dave do a stream just before me. If you don't watch it, you should do. Festa 67's workshop is the channel. It's a good show, but they had to leave. They had to finish like on a they had to finish on a dime basically because they both wanted to go for a great big wee, and they're both old men, so of course they have to go when they need to. But I don't know if you know, Colin, but right at the end of the titles, you might have done it deliberately, but all we heard was you came back and said, "Oh, it was fast, like a Usain Bolt, that was." I assume that was intentional, but if not, it was hilarious. Yes, they had to finish right at the end. But you know what? I've done that before. I've ended streams before now because I've been dying to go for a wee. EC Idaho, moral of the orc car equals plan ahead. Exactly, with any Warhammer stuff. Just plan ahead with any model, actually. And this goes back to David Sanderson, because he was asking about, he wanted to know about the build order and paint order for a World War I aircraft. He's not asking specifically, about the aircraft, just more, does it require anything special? And what I would always say is, whatever the model is, build in sub-assemblies, but so you can still paint everything. Let that dictate how much you build in a sub-assembly. Keep in mind how you're going to glue things together later. Like, I don't want to glue him at the feet into there because it'll make a mess of the paint job here. But if I glue this gun onto the roof bit here, I don't need to glue the dude in, and that bit of plastic will not be visible. So that's an easy way to do it. So plan what you're doing around how you can paint things and how you can glue the sub-assemblies together. One thing you don't need to do, and I do it all the time, I do it myself as well all the time, is I look at the subject of a model and I somehow get stuck in letting that dictate how I paint it. So he was basically asking, is there a specific way to do like World War I aircraft? Because they're wood frames, and it's like, no, just treat it like a normal model. Just forget the nature of the model itself. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if it's a World War I aircraft or a boat or a plane. Just treat it as a load of parts. Focus on how much can I put together without cornering myself where I can't paint something. Like if I put the roof on there, if I built this and I glued the roof on, I won't put it in properly, but if I glued the roof on there and put that in, how the hell am I going to paint inside? Yeah, if I'm building an aircraft, I'm not going to glue the canopy in place until I've painted the cockpit and the pilot, because I can't get in there. And I'm not going to paint the cockpit and pilot once it's installed, because I'm not going to be able to get in there to all the little dials on the dashboard. So, like on the other one, on this thing here, bring this back. On this thing here, if I take the driver later out, I can get him out. There's a knack to it. Yeah, there you go. If I take the driver out, I've left him out and I've left the roof off so I can get to all the little dials on the dashboard. If I glue him in, I can't get to his legs, to a lot of his body. I can't get to most of him. And I can't get to all the dashboard dials. So I leave him out. I can paint him separately because I know I can just slot him in. I don't actually need to glue him in because he's never going to come out again unless you really jiggle him out. So I don't need to glue him in anyway. But this way, I know I can get to that grot to paint that grot there. And it's a shame you're on a live stream, you can't see the detail, but the grot is basically pulling this lever. And it's like he's like using his entire weight to pull it. I do love these grots. And sticking his head out. So I know I can get to that grot, most of it. I can get to all the interior parts. I can get to the dashboard to paint the little dials and stuff. So I can get to everything. And now I don't know which bit goes from which kit. Oh, hang on. That's from there. Yes, don't get them mixed up. So it's really just about planning ahead. It doesn't matter what the subject is, whether it's I'm building one of these, or a battleship, or a spaceship, or a single figure, or I don't know, a rat of unusual size. It doesn't really matter what it is. I could be making a gelatinous cube. It could be anything. You've just got to keep in mind the same metrics. What can I put together that doesn't restrict me from painting the things inside it or around it? And what can I put together and leave out till the end that isn't going to damage the paint job when I try and glue it back in? So, for example, I wouldn't, if I had something that was like, if I had, like, say, making a tank, I would never paint the two halves of the barrel and then glue them together, because you're going to have to fill that seam line right down the middle. And even if you could do it with the squishy glue technique, you've just ruined your paint job. So you've got to strip it down and paint it again. Whereas if I can insert the cannon into the turret later, and then if it's like you've got like a turret and the cannon sticks out here, and you can put that in and then put the base of the turret on and get some glue around there where nobody's going to see, then you could build and paint the entire cannon and then install it into the turret. So you've got to think about, how is it going to go together? Where can I get glue? And you can touch glue to a tiny gap so it can soak into the middle, because that's probably not going to damage your paint job too much. And if you're weathering your model, that gives you more scope to make a few splobby bits with the paint, with the the glue and the paint. So if I'm gluing two things together, like I'm gluing him in there, for example, and let's say I do get a bit of glue into a gap and it splooges out and takes some of the paint off, that's not too bad, because then I'm going to weather it and put dust and dirt. So, it depends on what you're going to do with it. But the only thing you need to worry about is, how can I assemble stuff without messing up the paint when I'm gluing it together later, or without restricting myself so I suddenly can't paint the bit inside that everybody can see, but I can't get into paint. There's nothing worse than having an aircraft with an unpainted cockpit because you realise you've glued the canopy on. You're like, oh crap, oh. Yeah, I might find, I don't yet know what's under that painted kind of canopy on my Wazbomb Blastajet thing that I got from eBay, so who knows? There might not even be a pilot in there. You might not have even put the cockpit in, so who knows? Wait, I just hear Fox say plan ahead. Yeah, I don't do planning normally in real life, but when it comes to model building, it's the one place I do. Chat has just exploded. I've missed a lot of chat there, so I do apologise. David Butcher, that model is in. Welcome, Dave. How you doing, buddy? Dave then swears. He says GZ and then says, crap, wrong chat, lol, playing World of Warcraft on the other screen. GG. GG. This European tram is a pain, as I've got to glue and paint almost the entire model before gluing it together. Yeah, anything like a bus or an interior thing like that, you've got to plan. Anything with an interior is where it gets tricky. Because I often get to the point where I want to build everything, but I have to stop and paint an interior. And it's like, oh I don't want to do that. Ooh. Like with the Stormwolf, I painted the troop bay at the front. Painted the cockpit completely and then installed that. But on the Stormwolf, for example, the Space Marine, Space Wolves transport ship, you can pull the door down on the front, you can open the door and see the interior, and the interior is fully modelled. So what I did was, I built the sides and the floor, like that, of the vessel, but I didn't put the top on. Painted the interior completely, and when it came to the end, I was able to put the top on, and very carefully, because it was such a lovely tight, because I did some dry fitting, it was such a lovely tight fit, I could put the top on, get it in place, clamp it, I think with elastic bands I think I used, and just touch the glue to the edge, and that sucked the glue into the edges where the plastic was no paint, glued it together, and I was done. Things like rhinos, often with a rhino you can actually leave the top unglued, you can pop it straight off. Doesn't matter once it's on the tabletop, it's not going to come off. It just means you can pop the top off, paint the interior, pop the top back on again. There you go, if you want to paint the interior. Where are we up to? I've kind of got to the end of the chat now. If I've missed you, I do apologise. Do say hello. Don't forget, of course, the whole point is to ask me stuff in chat, is to keep me busy. I've got the chat here. If you want to catch my attention, please just do one of simple things. Either put your comment in big fat capital letters so I have a chance to see it. Or if you want to, you can do a super chat, which you do by pressing the little dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. That puts your comment in a coloured box. An animation pops up here somewhere, and I have no way to miss your comment. So, yeah. Anyway. I've not got much to do now. I need to clean up that big gun. I need to do a couple of grots. So let's clean up the big gun first. I glued all this together. I almost snapped off his Molotov cocktail bottle, but I didn't quite. I need two. Get me a little sanding mat. It has all my tools on it. Tools, let me show you my big tool. There we go. Right, so I assembled all this yesterday. A little bit of crud off. I've got to say, this particular vehicle kit has been a right pain for mould lines. Not because they're really big or anything, but because they're kind of, if you watched last week, they're really stressed, as in, it's almost like the plastic's been stressed, so you get this big white line where the mould line is. And normally when you sand a mould line down, it just goes away. It's just, you see a three-dimensional little lip and you sand it back. On these, because it's like a piece of stressed plastic, even when you sand it back to flat, it's just white. And you can't quite tell if it's actually flat or not, and you tend to over sand. So it's a real pain trying to navigate through your mould lines. So anyway, I just need to do a quick bit of cleanup on this double set of guns. Bit there. Yes, I've not really had the... it's not that I've had no mojo, but I've not had the urge to film and paint. When I'm doing filming and painting, I need to be in the right frame of mind. Otherwise, I'll just do a half-ass paint job and I'll do a half-ass filming job. And nobody will come out of that happy. So if at all there's any reason why I'm not 100% up to snuff and I'm like, excuse me, then I know not to film and not to paint, because I don't want to give you a half-assed product when you're watching a video. So instead I thought I'll do some building, because building helps restore energy and mojo. If you've lost your will to paint, it kind of brings it back. So I just cracked on with this Boomdakka Snazzwagon. Boomdakka Snazzwagon, they might say in some places. Which is pretty good. I do like it. It's just, it's the least pleasing of the four vehicles that I built to build because of the bizarre mould lines. It could just be this one particular print. You know, they do print runs, as it were, of each kit. They don't print, you know, at the Games Workshop factory, they don't print every model every day, all day at the time. They might spend a week printing off 10,000 of these, and then the next day that machine will be printing off 10,000 of something else. So it might just been a funky run. It could be a one-off bad print. Everything else is fine though, so we'll live with it. I also got my Death Korps of Krieg dudes primed up. Apologies. And I noticed that I've got 30 Death Korps dudes now. One squad of which is proper Forge World. The other squad of which I got from eBay as a job lot of two squads. But I thought it was basically, mine is I've got, the one I got from Forge World was a 10-man Death Korps of Krieg squad firing. And the other ones I bought from eBay were 2 lots of Death Korps of Krieg squad advancing. I don't think anything of it. They look genuine. They look good. Getting them, I realised that it was a 10-man squad. I can't quite tell if they're original Forge World or not. They're like a dark grey. They're not a light grey, so I'm thinking they might not be original Forge World, possibly. I don't know. But they look more like this plastic than resin. I can't quite tell if they're resin or not. They look like this grey plastic. It's very strange. But if it's they're squad advancing, but squad advancing 10-man squad should include 1 sergeant and 1 Krieger with a flamethrower. What I've actually got is 1 sergeant and 9 Death Korps of Krieg dudes with rifles, or a couple of guys with like Astra Militarum arms stuck on because they've done a bit of a kit bash, and one guy's got like a big spike thing wrapped around his arm. So I've not got the guy with the heavy flamer. So it doesn't really matter from a model making point of view, but if I want to play it in a game, I'd need to have, you know, him set up as the official. If I've got the codex that says here's how you play this squad with 1 sergeant, 1 flamer, and 8 Krieger troopers with rifles, I kind of need the model to show that. Otherwise, I'll forget what the heck everybody's got. So, and you know, I'll need to know if my guy with the heavy flamer gets taken out. I can't then use him on my next combat turn because he's dead. But if I've not got a model to represent him, How do I know that? So what I've decided I'm going to have to do is bite the bullet at some point in the new year sometime when I can afford it, because I'm skint at the minute. When I can afford it, I'm going to have to get myself another squad of Death Korps of Krieg dudes. I know I wasn't going to, you know, from Forge World. And in that squad, it'll be squad firing seems to be out of print now, so it'll be squad advancing. And in that squad, take 2 of the dudes out and replace them with 2 of the regular dudes from the other 2 squads. And I've got some. I've got a pair of arms from a Tempesta Scion and a pair of arms from a Acadian Trooper with a heavy flamer, like left and right arm for the heavy flamer. I'm going to have to add those arms onto a couple of the Death Korps dudes from a new squad, and then take 2 of the existing ones and just balance it out. I did debate whether to, you know, carve and cut the arms off 2 of the guys from the sets I got off eBay. But because I don't know what they're glued together with, I don't know how they've assembled them really. I don't really want, and they were like 45 quid for each squad, so I don't really want to ruin 2 dudes if I try and take the arms off and suddenly find that the arms I want to put on there don't quite fit. So I've decided I'll just have to, in the new year sometime, get myself another 10-man squad. Just like, you know, the squad advancing, perhaps. And just swap out 2 of the guys. That, give them flamers, and then I've got basically 3 squads of. I've got 3 10-man advancing squads. Then that will balance out quite nicely. So that's what I shall do next year. But I can't wait to paint them. Oh yes, because now I've basically gone from nothing to having 30 Death Korps Kriegers, troops, infantry. I've got my Macarius Vanquisher, which I need to build and paint, and I've got my Malcador Infernus, which I need to build and paint. I don't know how many points that would be. Obviously, they're getting a new codex soon, so. But I've gone from having nothing to having 30 dudes and 2 tanks. So I could probably have a game with 30 dudes and 2 tanks. Over time, I will expand them, because I do fancy, you know, building up a Death Korps of Krieg force, just because they are cool looking. Of course, I haven't painted any of them yet. It might be that I don't enjoy painting them at all, and I decide against that. But we'll find out. It's a very slow process, though, because it's Forge World, so it's not cheap. A 10-man squad of infantry is 45 quid on Forge World. Squad advancing or squad relaxing or whatever it is you get. Typical 10-man squad, 45 quid. Heavy weapons squad, 30 quid. They have some beautiful artillery pieces. If you ever get a chance, go on to forgeworld.co.uk and just filter it to Death Korps of Krieg and just look at some of the stuff they've got. Because they're more like a World War I style trench warfare army. So they've got a lot of like artillery pieces. They have these massive thud guns, which are just basically big, effectively big 88 type style, big, massive ground cannons. And you get separate crews for them. And they look beautiful. They kind of do really have a World War. There's a whole World War I vibe going on with the tanks and the artillery. So, you know, it would be fun to eventually build up that kind of group of dudes. It'd also be quite profitable if I wanted to build them and paint them and sell them, I think. Because there are a lot of people who want to do Death Korps and can probably afford to do Death Korps, but they haven't got the painting skills, or they don't think they've got the painting skills, or they haven't got the resin building skills, and I haven't got the resin building skills. But there'll be a lot of people that don't think they've got those skills. And when you're buying like a £20 plastic kit, if you're not an accomplished painter, you're not too fussed. It's 20 quid. It's not the end of the world. But if you think you've not got the painting skills, you're not going to then spend 150 quid on a resin tank kit from Forge World on the off chance you bugger it up with your poor painting skills. That's where I think there's a market for Forge World stuff. Just because it's expensive, and therefore people who can't paint brilliantly or think they can't paint are a bit more reticent to buy it. So they're more likely to pay out for one that's pre-painted. I hope, anyway. But I stuck with resin, so it's swings and roundabouts. Right, so that's that weapon cleaned up nicely. I think we're a little bit of a seam line there. I shall have a look at chat in a moment. Yeah, I can't wait to get them painted, though. I don't think the ones I bought are actually genuine Forge World, for the simple reason that none of them have the Aquila on their helmet, unless that's an old thing they never used to do in the past. See, I don't know if they've reissued and created new moulds over the last 10 years. None of them have Aquila on the helmet. And they have this strange grey resin, which some of them have actually got plastic bits stuck on. Like, one of them's got his arm in a sling, so that's from a Acadian Trooper. But when they've got these grey plastic parts from standard Games Workshop kits, it's the same colour as the Death Korps of Krieg body. And I can't quite tell if it's resin or not. I really can't tell, so it's weird. Right. So this guy has a big... I have to say this. He has a big crack in his arse. There's a big gap there because his body is left side and right side, and it didn't quite fit together perfectly. So I'm going to have to fill that with some sprue glue, I think. I can't leave it like that. It's a big gash. There's a little tiny gap there, but that might just look like a gap between the belt and his skin, so I can get away with that. But that one, it's the gap between his pants and his crotch belt, whatever you want to call it. It's the strapping on his webbing. We're going to have to fill that. Before I do that, I shall have a look at the chats. We're up to... Didn't we hear this already? As Lynn. I don't know what we were talking about. Fox, yes, please show us how to make a gelatinous cube. I've never done a gelatinous cube. It's just a block of... Get some jelly. I've never painted one, though. I've watched Dr. Faust paint one. It made me want some lime-flavoured jelly, to be perfectly honest. Planning ahead. Put the model down and step away from Fox's bench. I don't know what you've done with the real Fox, but you're obviously an imposter. The authorities are on their way. Woo, woo, woo. Siren time. I can hear them pounding on Fox's door now. No, that's the Amazon delivery guy buying more tat that Mama Fox has bought, probably. Excuse me. Call him Mr. Tombolina, Mr. Bob. Are you? Oh, I see what you did there, yes. Paging Mr. Dobalina, Mr. Bob Dobalina. Butcher that model. Grumpy mate supposed to be next door with beer and snacks and zombicide, but I can't do it now, flipping chocolate velociraptors. You need to get an Xbox and just play other games. Play some Fallout. Or on your PC, play some Fallout or Skyrim. There you go. Welcome to the Fox Plans Something show. Wait, Fox plans things? Lol. It's not normal, is it? I need to clear my throat. One sec, folks. There we go. It's because I'm trying to talk quietly and it's not easy and it stresses my throat more. Lynn thinks I need to be checked for fever because I'm planning things. Boom, boom, boom. Let me hear you, says Dadwagon. Wow, says Dakkawagon. Says that was a complete train wreck when I tried to read that. We'll just move on. Best not discuss it. Dave says, love building the Ork wagons, but the mould lines are a pain in all of them. Yeah, like I said, they're not particularly big on this. They're just like bright white. I've never come across that before. Not on the whole kit. So it's more just your eye thinks there's a mould line still there, even though it could be flat as a baby's backside. You can see the white line. It might be that once the primer's on, it's gone. I'm hoping anyway. Yeah, Death Corpse of Womble, says Dave Butch, that model. Yeah. Forge World figures were dark grey resin. Early Forge World figure showcase was white and scenery and add-ons were a dark grey. Okay, so they could be genuine Forge World then. The only thing I don't know now is that none of them have the Aquila on the helmet. So whether, I mean, they're very, it's weird. They look nicer and crisper than my Forge World ones that I actually got from Forge World. So they could be an earlier printing and could be, maybe when they were first released, they didn't have the Aquila and then those molds got useless and they had to remold, sort of create new molds from the masters and maybe they added some details, I don't know. More than likely they're just like Chinese knockoffs. Or Russian or Polish knockoffs. Allocate the figure and put a token next to it like we used to have to do back in the day when we played black and white. Yeah, there is that. Sarah Jane's in. Hi, Sarah Jane. Yeah, there is that, but I like painting flamers. I'd have to have them. I can't be doing with them not having a flamer. If he's a flamer dude. The whole world knows that a Forge World resin kit is the equivalent of a 1980s larder. They used to be good in their day. B3 says he's got a split arse. Yes. Crack in the ass. Well, pull up your pants, dude, says Lynn. Arse crack, says Mayhem Model Works. Yeah, so we need to fill his. I can't say any of this without just doing the. We need to fill his ass. So I'm not getting... This is just not being monetized. I've just lost that already. So let's do some sprue goo. Now, it's going to be tricky because basically he's got his trousers there. He's got his trouser butt area. But he's also got like a piece of leather strapping that goes round. It's like a belt strap and then the strap that goes round underneath. Up the crotch with the skull on the front. So he's got this basic leather thong scenario going on over his trousers. So I want to fill it in, but I want to make sure I keep that little step between the trouser and the leather strap. That's the tricky bit. It's going to be a pain in the bum to fix that once I've filled it in. So get myself in cocking gestelen, gesticken, gevarten. And some spruen de gluen. And I'll sacrifice the underside of his base. Bit of this. I have to work fast. Work fast now. That's his stick. This is sprue glue. If you need me to explain what sprue glue is, tell me in chat and I'll explain it in a minute. If you don't, I won't. I won't do it now while I'm just busy doing this though. Okay, this might not work. I might end up having to recreate the leather strap with some plastic card. There is that, of course. I do hate filling things in, you see, because I hate all the cleanup afterwards. So we'll just see how that goes. All the threads coming off it. Ugh, threads everywhere. Yeah, there's threads everywhere. Who's Fred? I don't know. Right, so that's that filled. I've filled his ass. We leave that now. There's all the jokes. It's not like even you can make double entendre because there's no double entendre when it's just I'm sitting there saying I'm filling his ass. There's nowhere to go from that. Paul would be bored right now because there's no double entendre for him to say FNAR to because it's not even double entendre. Delicate arse operation. I do apologise for the coughing. My throat's been really weird today. Delicate arse operations, says Chris. Yes. Mankini Orkini. Just tuned in, says Timothy Calarco. Welcome, Timothy. You've just seen me fill an orc's arse. There you go. Hi, Timothy, but welcome, welcome. Why do I always come back in when the chat has clearly gone off? Yeah, asks Muse. So you're going to get some goo on his thong, then this stream has taken a disturbing change in direction, says Steve. Absolutely. Leather straps and bums, what alternative world have I wandered into, says Graham. Timothy Calarco says, I want to start my first army. Cool. The best thing I can recommend is to look at which faction you think is the most interesting to you as a person, as a player. Some people say go for the, because you're going to be making all the models. Some people say go for the models that you like, or go for this army because they can do this on the tabletop, or go for that army because they do that on the tabletop. But I'd say it's a bit of both. Look at the different factions and see which one you would like to play. Look at their stratagems and things and see which one would be the most interesting for you think would be the most interesting to play. But also consider, you can choose the best. You can look at the factions and say, well, I like, for example, you might be like, I like Tau because I like the stratagems and the way the tactics work and stuff, and that looks really cool. But you might hate the models. And if you're going to be spending weeks or months building and painting the models, you kind of want to make sure the models that you want to build. So I would personally say you're going to put more time into building the models than playing the games. I would personally say just pick a faction that you think, that looks cool. Because then you're probably going to enjoy building it and painting it. And then when it comes to playing it, you might not, you might be like, I don't like playing these guys. But you know what? You've got a cool collection of models at the end of it that you can either keep in your display cabinet or sell and put that money towards another faction that you can then build and paint. So it's a bit of both. You want to consider which one are you going to enjoy playing and which one are you going to enjoy building and painting. Especially if you're like me, you're going to spend months. I've been building an Imperial army for 2 years and I've not even painted anything yet. I've not even got anywhere with it. I was thinking Astra Militarum, says Timothy. That's what mine's going to be. The reason I chose Astra Militarum, because I haven't actually played a game yet. Ever. I've not built enough of a force. The reason I'm thinking Astra Militarum for mine is is basically it's got the most variation. There's the most models in there. I'm a model maker, so with Astra Militarum, you can also build up Space Marines. You can also build up Death Korps of Krieg and other things. It's not just Cadians and Lehman Russes. with the Astra Militarum, they can fight alongside Space Marines. So you've got every single Space Marine chapter and vehicle ever. You've got, like me, I've got some Korps of Krieg from Forge World. They can fight along because they're Astra Militarum. You've got all the Forge World models. You've got all the Games Workshop models. You've got so much variation. You've got so many different vehicles and everything. If you just stick to Space Marines, it's all right, but there's not a lot going on. If you just stick to, you know, Tau or something, Tau's quite good. There's lots of vehicles. You know, Orks are quite good, but the models are a bit old. There's not. Astra Militarum to me has the most bang for your buck because it's got the most variation of models and the most coverage in Forge World as well. So, as a model maker, I find the Astra Militarum much more interesting. Yes, you are playing a blob troop army where you've got 8 billion Cadians, but you know what? Can't always be Space Marines. And you can bring Space Marines in with it. Ask Fox, how many games has he played? None. I just wish Death Corps wasn't so expensive. Yeah, Death Corps is very expensive. It's resin. It always will be. It's a niche market. Right, so his arse is curing. No way around that. His arse is hardening. I can't get him. Let's just build the grots. The reason I'm building these orc stuff, Timothy, is because I just I looked at them and thought they look like fun. I might not ever get around to playing an orc army, but the models look like fun to build, and that's the other thing. That's the important thing. So I need to build the grot that hangs off the front, which is 49 and 50. These have got tiny little attachment points, so what I might do is zoom out for you, because... No, I don't zoom out. Let me know if the picture quality is okay for you, because I am zoomed in a little bit, and it does degrade the picture quality a touch. I'm going to use my God hand nippers, because they're only tiny little attachment points. And 50, which is this one here. So this is the guy Mad Maxed to the grill on the front of the vehicle, which is quite funny. I do wish Warhammer TV had actually shown painting more of these, because they painted. Duncan painted the scrap jet, the shock jump drag. Oh, God, I hate these names. Shock jump dragster. He painted that, but of all the orc vehicles, that's kind of the most boring one. I think he showed how to paint a snake bite pattern on one of them, but I don't think they showed the full painting for anything other than the shock jump dragster, which is, of all the vehicles, it's kind of the least interesting, because it's just a dude in the cockpit, and yeah, where all the other vehicles have got like a certain amount of humour, and like the Squig buggy, the Rucker Truck Squig buggy is full of humour, and yet they didn't show that one. So yeah, shame really. I would have happily watched Duncan paint some of these. Right, do keep in mind, by the way, folks, I've got the chat in front of me for anybody new. But while I'm doing stuff here, I've got my magnifying lenses on, and I can't actually see the chat at all other than a blur when I've got my lenses on. So make sure to put your comment in a big fat capital letters so I have a chance to see it as it scrolls past. Or if you want to, like I said before, you can do the super chat. Just put your comment, press the little dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. Not do a super chat. I can't miss your comment then, because there's a noise and an animation and everything. And then I know something's been said. File on that, I think. Bit too tight to get the old sander clating sponge in there, I think. Yeah, so I've never actually played the game. I'll quite happily say that. But I can imagine. But I did give it some thought as to, you know, I did look into how to play the armies and stuff before I decided what I wanted my army to be. But as a model maker, I balanced it more towards what models do I actually want to make. I looked at orc stuff. Orc stuff did tickle me at the start, but I looked at the models, and a lot of the figures were just like old. A lot of the vehicles were old. There weren't that many interesting vehicles to do. I was like, yeah, they don't look that interesting. And then these vehicles came out, and I'm like, okay, now they're a bit more interesting. There's some good Forge World stuff, but again, it's just the model choice is not great. These are annoying. Nubs off a tiny arm that's prone to snappage because it's thin. Yeah. It's like when people say to me, what Gumpler should I build as my first Gumpler? And I just say, go look at Gumpler kits, and the first one that you look at and think, oh, that looks cool, that's the one you want to build. Doesn't matter whether it's a perfect grade or a master grade. If you're not invested in the kit, you're not going to enjoy building it. But, you know, I'm not going to go out and suddenly get a model kit of a cruise liner because I've no interest in that. You know, I'm not going to get a model kit of a racing car because I've no interest in that. So I'm not going to get any of that little buzz from building the thing. For me, it always starts with an aesthetic choice. I'll look at all the different options. Oh, that looks cool. I'll make that. And then what happens is it goes into my stash and then I never get around to building it. But with Warhammer, there's the gameplay aspect as well. So it depends. I just saw Astra Militarum as having the most options for the most kits. The most toys, to quote Star Trek The Next Generation. Plus, it's got lots. You know, the vehicles are interesting. You have things like the Valkyrie, and you got the Baneblade, and the Lehman Russes, and your different tank options. Yeah, and Deathcore in there as well if you want to spend a fortune on Forge World. At the end of the day, it isn't whether you're doing, even if it's not Games Workshop, but any kind of model making is an expensive hobby. So keep that in mind. And you don't have to build up an entire army in one go. That's the other thing to keep in mind. You know, you might be like, well, I'm building up an Astra Militarum army, and I really want some Deathcore in there as well, but they're so expensive, and they are. And it's like, well, okay, well, just build up your army slowly. Get yourself, like, start out with a start collecting box, or whatever the new version is going to be when it comes out. That gives you enough to get a small force together that you can play on the table. And while you're playing that little tiny force in little skirmishy games, you can start building up your stash of kits. A few months down the line, perhaps, you've been playing skirmish games with your start collecting squad. Maybe a couple of months later, you get yourself an extra set of Cadian troopers. You've now got a slightly bigger squad, a few more points. Save up for a little bit. If money's tight, save up for a little bit. Now you've got yourself a Chimera troop transport. Save up again a bit more. Now you've got a couple of Lehman Russes. You've expanded your force even more. You've had fun building them. And in the meantime, as you're building up this force slowly, you're playing the game with whatever you've already got built and painted. So over time, you're amassing your collection, your army, but you're still playing the army in the meantime. You're just getting into bigger and bigger matches. And that way you're getting into the game, slowly being introduced to it, whilst building up your army. And there's nothing wrong with building up an enormous, 10,000 point army right now, or whatever the big armies are, like an entire battalion. But that's a lot of stuff to build and paint before you go near the table. When I eventually do get around to playing, I think my plan will be, I was hoping to get some gaming done this year, but Chocolate Velociraptor 19 has kind of taken care of all of that. I think what I'm going to do plan to do is, get at least a minimal force. I've got lots of things built. I've got like 1 billion Tempestus Scions and 1 billion Cadian Troopers built and primed and just not painted. I think my plan will be just to, when we can all, when the world stops being on fire and I can actually go out into public again, just get equivalent of a start collecting box painted up. Or, something that size, maybe, 20 Cadians and 10 Scions or something like that. And maybe a Lehman Russ or something. Just get them painted up, get them going. And then just go and have a few games with Adam at Goblin Gaming. Because I've no play, so I need to learn. And just have some small skirmish games. The other difficult thing for me, of course, is I try and do this for a living, so ideally anything I make I want to sell. So it's actually difficult for me to build up my own army because I need to spend all that time building it and painting it and then not sell it. Kind of a strange thing for me to do. It all needs to be about making me income, so... Right, this head is not wanting to go on. Why is this head not... Why am I doing it wrong? Am I being a special head? Probably. Oh, there we go, that's why. Yes. We'll get some of the extra thin. So don't feel that you have to build up an entire army instantly, and you have to go to your first game with like a 2,000-point army. You just go for those start collecting boxes, and then whatever they're going to replace by. They are actually a really, really good idea. They are actually a really good way to get into it. Because I started out with a start collecting box. My plan was to build that, paint it, and then have a game, but I never did. Because they just give you a little tiny squad. I know they're going to be replaced now. They're being replaced with the new thing, but they just get you started off with the basics. I think the Astra Militarum is like a commissar, a Vox dude, a squad of Cadian troopers, and a Lehman Russ, and they are like 50-60 quid until they get replaced with the new one that's more expensive. And at the time, and even now, when you think you pay at least £35 for the Lehman Russ, and you're getting that in a box with a squad of troopers, you're saving a bit of money on that. So it's a good way to start. Anyway, that's the dude. I know you guys can't see, but he's basically a little grot, and he's got like a metal thing, like a little metal sort of thing stuck over his mouth so he can't say anything. And he's strapped to that somehow. Where'd he go? How'd he go on? Apparently he goes on. Apparently, he just goes on. It's another one of those nebulous. We're not going to really tell you how he goes on. I think he goes on. I see like that. Now, I reckon I can paint him in situ. I can paint him on there. That's no problem. I just love that. He's like, nah. What does it say on the box? It says he is a. It describes him as. Hang on. Stupid git what needs a lesson. He's stuck on the front there. Yeah, I like that. Stupid git what needs a lesson. Yeah. I imagine orcs talking like super mutants a bit, but with London accents. What? The orcs weird, yeah. That's how orcs talk. I can glue him on because a quick look at him tells me I'm going to be able to paint him, no problem, in situ. That's fine. He's not going to be a challenge to paint while he's stuck on there. I need to get more glue on there. Hang on, there's a big flipping seam line there. Oh, no big loss. Big mould line on the inside of his leg. God damn. I'll touch the gluey bits. Didn't see that bit. That mould line. I will come and have a look at chat in a minute. Bear with me. He's got a crotchular mould line, which doesn't sound very pleasant at all, to be perfectly honest. I can't get the sanding tool in there without. About done. But again, it's one of these this bright white mould line, and I can't tell if it's gone or just visible as a colour. I think it's gone. I hope it's gone, otherwise there'll be a big ass mould line on there. Oh well. Goes on there. That goes on there like that. There you go. Lovely. Those start collecting boxes, they are a really good value for money. They were 50 quid originally, then they went up to 65, but that's fine, they've got to make their money back. But they were actually a really good way to get started into it. Because it might be that you try a few games and you don't enjoy it, and you think, yeah, I'm not really into the playing games. I like making the models, I'm painting it. And if you've just spent a fortune on a 5,000 point army, that's kind of a bitter pill to swallow. But if you spend 60-70 quid on a start collecting set with 10 dudes and a load of vehicles and stuff, yeah, at least you've had a good kit out of it. Right, quick look at chat. That's about all I have built up is a start collecting box, says the Raging Modeler. Then, there you go. Dave says, that's what happens, and then you're 30 years later, you notice you've got 5 armies over 4,000 points each and over 2,000 minis and stuff on shelves. Yeah. Tiberian Sun is in, says Mwan Mwan to Fox and Chat. Guten Tag. Tiberian Sun. Timothy Calarco, sorry, says one word: Baneblade. Oh yes, I'm on a quest to get everybody to build a Baneblade. Everybody should build a Baneblade. I've not done mine yet. I've not even started building it yet. But so far, I've got Chris at Gross Models to build one. I've got Ted at Skipper Scale Mods to build one. Others will occur. But yes, everybody should have a Baneblade. YouTube is eating my words again, says Muse. Are you putting links in comments? Because you can't do links. I haven't got any blocked words, I don't think, but you can't do links. I have 4 full armies, says Muse. I just need to build and paint them all. Yes. I'm going to grab the start collecting box from a local shop next paycheck, says Timothy. Yeah, go for it. I say the Astra Militarum one, it depends which one to do, because you've got Astra Militarum, Acadians, which is a group, Acadian squad, a commissar, a Vox type dude, a couple of heavy weapons, and you've got a Lehman Russ tank. You've got the Tempestus Scions, which is the squad plus the Taurox Prime vehicle. If you fancy a bit of Tempest, they're like they're like the shock troops of the Imperium. They're like hardcore Acadian troops. But I think you've got other Imperium ones as well, the start collectings. But yeah, you've got Acadians or Tempestus Scions, of course. But you've got Space Marines and everything else as well. So just see what tickles you the most. I've done both the Astra Militarum, the Acadian, and the... I'll say that again. I've done both the Acadian and the Tempestus Scions start collecting. I'm looking forward to painting the Tempestus Scions more, because I think the figures look better. But either way, they're still good. They're still good little squads. Have fun with either of them. Right, the next little dude is the dude hanging out of the window with a Grot Blaster, which is simply 45 and 44. 45, 44. These will be the last 2 parts. Then we can make a start on the next thing. Now I do need my little pin vise of drillulation. I need my bigger nippers for this. My pin vise for this one. Oh, ping. There you go. Now what tickles me is in the instructions, they give you a 4-step process of how to get this Grot Blaster hanging out the window, which is just going to loop him in. What they don't tell you at all anywhere is how to get the driver in. That's the instructions for the driver. No. What they don't tell you is that you have to get him in, angle him, push him under, stretch the bit of plastic above, shove him in, twist him, turn him. They don't give instructions for that, but they give instructions for him. Really? GW, sometimes you make me just want to SMH. End of the month, I think I'll get some Wraiths for my Necron, says Raging Modeler. Cool. But on the point made earlier, the Imperial Guard interests me because in a universe filled with superhuman soldiers, demons, technologically advanced aliens, and Lovecraftian horrors, they're just regular people. Yeah, that's kind of what got me to them as well. The subject is interesting, the models look interesting, there's more variation, but also they're just dudes. They're just cardboard armour and flashlights, basically. I like that a bit more. I like Space Marines, but yeah, they interest me more. For various reasons. But that's the fun thing, you see. You got these Space Marines, they're all superhuman. You have a squad of 8. You go with Imperial Guard, they're just people. You need to have a lot more Imperial Guard. So you need to start planning things like, you know, I'm facing down against a big tyrannid boss type dude. How do I defeat that? I've got like a squad of 10 dudes who are all made of paper. You got to think more tactical. I'm guessing. I don't know. I've never played the game, but I would guess it makes things a bit more interesting. I need my filing times. But for me, the first port of call for me was, wow, that looks cool. I'll get that. Literally, I saw some Warhammer stuff, thought, that looks cool, I need that. And then I started thinking, okay, well, I just want to make the models, but let's just think ahead a little bit. If I do want to play the game, what gives me the most options? I think it was Astra Militarum. I read forum posts and stuff. Because there's lots of variations, but I find like the Eldar kit's a bit boring, and Eldar does nothing for me. I find the Tau kit's interesting, But again, there's not a lot of options. There's not like a whole mess of different vehicles. Whereas the Astra Militarum, it's just like almost like just normal modern day armour. The vehicles and stuff, something like that's much more interesting. Because Tau doesn't give me much. I look at Tau and think, how am I going to weather that? It doesn't seem like it's going to be horribly weathered much. So yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Whatever takes your personal fancy. But that's why I like start collecting. Although they're replacing all the start collecting stuff now, they're gradually phasing them out with new things called something or others. I can't remember now. There's a Space Wolves one out. Battle something. I can't remember. They're a bit more. They're like 85 quid rather than 60 quid. Well, maybe you get more. I don't know. Battle groups or something. Somebody tell me in chat. I can't remember. If I do start building up some Space Marines, I will do. I do have some Space Wolves. I have the Space Wolves that Sai sent me from the Tooth and Claw set. So if I do build up some Space Marines, or in fact when I build up some Space Marines, I'll make sure that I make them all Space Puppies. Space Puppies. Space Puppies. Not because of anything other than, you know, hey, my surname's Wolf, what do you expect? But not because of that, but purely because I like the colour scheme. I like that kind of light blue. It appeals to me. The light blue and yellow just appeals to me as an artist. I don't know why, it just does. So I shall do that. It's a shame they only have one vehicle. I mean, it's interesting that they have a whole vehicle for themselves. The Stormwolf. I know the Dark Angels have the Talon Wing or whatever it is. Some of them have other bits and bobs, but... And you can take like your rhinos and stuff and paint them in Space Wolf's colours. I just like the design, the colour scheme for the Space Wolves. It kind of interests me. Aesthetically, it's most pleasing to me. I find it most pleasing. Oh, I've got a tickly nose again. Tickly nose, tickly nose, tickly nose, boom. Right. How are we doing for crotch seams? Yeah, this is a great big crotch seam. There you go. Bit pudgy, this fellow's got a bit of a pudenda sticking out there. Yes. So this guy goes together like something. I don't know. Making it up now. Let's look at the instructions. So that goes like that. And then this goes like that. Okay, that goes on there like that. I do need to drill the barrel of his weapon out though. I might do that first. It's the world's tiniest weapon, and I always get a bit panicky when doing little tiny hand weapons because you go wrong, you've just ruined the whole thing. Timothy says, die for the Emperor? Excited gas mask and shovel noises. Yeah, you want some Deathcore of Krieg, you do. When I didn't even know about Forger when I first got started, but the moment I was even exposed to some Deathcore of Krieg, I was like, I'm in love, I need to build these guys because this is awesome. That's what, and then I was like, oh wait, it's Forge World. Oh, right. That's not cheap. Then I had the moment of sadness. Forge World sadness. I was like, yeah, that's ouch. I had that moment. And then one of my good friends, George, friend and patron. Remember, if you want to support this channel, you can at patreon.com/model making. Purchased for me as a Secret Santa the Macarius Vanquisher, the Forge World tank, which is a deathcore thing, and I'm like, oh, brilliant. So I'm like, right, well now I've got to get some deathcore, which made me happy. This has got two barrels. The end of the surface is curved, so I can't get the. Oh, damn it! It's got a curve to it, and I can't quite get the drill to sit on it. And it's so small that I'm going to slip with the knife and stab myself. I can see this coming. I may have to not drill. I don't think I can drill these. The bit just doesn't want to stay. I can't get that to stay on the surface at all. But I don't like the idea of not drilled barrels. So small. Still got a camber to them. Even with the file, they're coming out slightly cambered. Where's my other file? Doodaloo-doo, this is going to end badly. I think. They're not the sharpest. Let's get a pin. They're not the sharpest drill bits in the world, unfortunately. Which means you need to make a little hole for them. But then I've only got a pin, and it's like kind of hurts my hand to do that. Like the pin's got a handle on it. There's no guarantee I'm actually going to be in the middle. In for a penny, in for a pound. Hey, a bugger. Oh, it's just not. I can't. Why is this surface not staying flat? I'm literally using a flat metal file. It's literally not going flat at all. Not even in the middle, that one. Yeah, I may have to abandon this and just have them painted black. Because I can't get a drill bit or a pin to stay on the surface. At all. I've never had this problem before. And I appreciate all you're doing. You see in the back of my head right now. So I'm trying to make a pilot hole. That one's done. There's no guarantee it's going to be in the middle. Okay, that's... Alright, we're cooking with gas. Watch this go wrong now. Doodle-doodle-doo. It's going to be a hole so small that drilling it out renders it invisible anyway. You're not going to see anything. As always, folks, bench and belly. If I've not asked it already, I can't remember now. Bench and belly, what you're working on right now, and what is your plan for dinner this evening? That's far too small. Let's go for something. Let's just risk it for a biscuit. This may end up with just sadness and despair. Let's go for it. The worst that can happen. Well, actually quite a lot, but no. Needs to be a deep hole. There we go. Doesn't need to be a big, deep, gaping hole. Yeah, that'll do. That's not too bad. It's better than nothing. Right, let me put these away. So I've drilled that hole out. I know you probably can't see it, but for anybody new, you've got two holes there, but they look rough and scrabbly and horrible because I've gouged them with pins and shit. So, simple tip, when you've drilled your barrel out, in fact, that one's not quite centered. So what I need to do is get my knife blade first and just center that a bit by just carving out that side. Widen it a little bit. Because here's the handy tip. Whenever you drill out a barrel, you're never going to get it spot on in the middle. All you need to do is very, very gently carve out the side that's too wide. Just a little bit, like that. And don't worry if it looks terrible. And then get yourself some Glutamate extra thin. Get most of it off the brush so it's just moist. And then just run it over to smooth it all off. Because all you've got left on there is little scratchy bits of plastic, little sort of fibres of plastic sticking up. That melts the plastic. It's a welding cement. It melts the plastic and smooths off any rough edges, and you end up with a couple of barrels sticking out. It's not the best job in the world. It's a little bit rough and ready, but once it's painted, nobody will ever know. Put that away. Where's me? I can go in there. Pin. Ah, Mr. Pin. Terry Pratchett, what a genius, having an assassin called... Was it an assassin? Mr. Pin? I think Mr. Pin was an assassin, wasn't he? I think. I remember now. Can't remember the specific book it was in. But I love that they have a character called Mr. Pin. God, Terry Pratchett was a genius and is sorely missed. His like will never be seen again. Right, so that's there. Put the knife away. Quick look at chat. Before they were Astra Militarum, says Mayhem, they were Imperial Guard, and they were the Katachan Jungle Fighters, Mordian Iron Guard, Talon Desert Raiders, Cadian Shock Troops, and Penal Troops. There were some others as well, but yeah. They I think in the late 2000s, Games Workshop went through a phase of having to redo some of their trademarks and copyrights, because obviously, like any intellectual property, you have to make sure it's trademarked and copyrighted. So if I make a product called Blebulon, and that name, somebody else then comes along with a product called Blebulon that's completely different or might be competitive, whatever, I can say I own the copyright and trademark in that name, so you can't call it that. Unfortunately, with Imperial Guard, they can't really trademark that, because there's so many things called Imperial Guard, from Star Wars to God knows what. It's not really something they could enforce very well. So what they did was, they said, you know what, why don't we call them the Astra Militarum, because there's no way anybody else can use that for something else. Imperial Guard's too generic a name. So they changed the Imperial Guard, which is not really enforceable, because, you know, what, hey, if they went to court and said, we have the trademark on Imperial Guard, and then if a judge said to 1 million people, what's Imperial Guard? And they'd be like, is that Star Wars? So, yeah. It needs to be something that's associatable. So, yeah, they changed Imperial Guard to Astra Militarum, and they changed the Tau, T-A-U, and they changed that by adding an apostrophe, so it's Tau, because Tau is a Greek letter. And again, it's a Greek letter and has lots of other meanings. So if somebody creates a product called Tau, and you can say, you can't call that Tau because my space battle thing's called Tau, and they'll be like, it's called Tau because of this reason. It's a Greek letter. What? It's like you can't call that orange. So they added the apostrophe. I think they changed some other stuff, but I'm not sure what. But it's so they could actually legally enforce their copyrights. Keep watching this, where he stabs himself with a bike with a bit like a syringe. Making sprue goo is very therapeutic, I've just discovered. Oh yeah, just don't keep the top of the jar open for more than 10 seconds though. Get it open, put the stuff in, close it, give it 5 minutes, take the lid off, put more in. If you have that lid open for more than 10 or 15 minutes, you'll be in space. Nightmare Prinny, heretic, Skitarii troops deployed. I don't know who that's aimed at. Windows open and mask on, Butcher. I learned that lesson early on, says Graham M. Heat the point of the drill and gently push it in to make a pilot hole. Could do that. I've got no way of heating it. I haven't smoked a cigarette in 3 years. I've got no lighters left. Davey's dangerous enough with pointy without adding that heat to the mix. Yeah, there is that. Ross Medlock's just had a welcome. Ross has had a full roast chicken dinner with all the trimmings, bench, 2 Chaos Space Marine obliterators. When Hayward bench Judge Red Minis, belly roast chicken lunch. Yes. Dave is working on the Spitfire resin book art. A10 Warthog, and dinner is roast pork shoulder with incredible crackling. Just need teeth to eat it. Yeah, you can have more teeth by not impaling yourself on bollards at speed. Lynn Dipple says moist. I can't do moist because the microphone's. I can't get to the microphone. Timothy ate 2 cupcakes with a glass of iced tea and have a real grade M6OS6. Start that again. Real grade M6OS. Oh, God damn it, Fox. A real grade MS06R2 on the table. Zaku? Good choice. What's the MS06R2? Is that Wazakka? I think it's Wazakka, isn't it? I think. He was Mr. Pin and he's trying to have a drug addict partner of the new firm. That's right. B3, belly roast chicken dinner with stuffing. Everybody's doing roast chicken. Roasties, Yorkshires and veg. Bench nothing. The muse has deserted me this week because I can't find the right bits. Mr. Pin and Mr. Tulip, that's it, says Spid. Lynn Dipple says, belly waiting for 12 PM so I can kind of leftover Domino's pepperoni pizza. Bench junk. It jumped. Hang on. Junk and more junk. I do have a week off and I will clean it up. You say that every week, Lynn, but you never do. you need to really buckle down and be like, I'm going to clear this stuff off the workbench. After you've got that lovely desk and everything, you need to set that time aside. Take you like half an hour. Trust me. No. You're like me. You just like to procrastinate. When I have to tidy my bench, I say, right, I'm going to tidy my bench today. 6 weeks later, yeah, I didn't. I did actually a few months ago. I thought, you know what? When the first lockdown came, I thought, let's strip everything off the bench, give it a damn good clean. I took everything off the bench. Took me a good couple of hours, got everything off the bench. I got the hoover out, hoovered everything. I dusted everything. And then I put everything back on the bench in exactly the same way, and it's just as cluttered. Just cleaner. This clutter was cleaner. There were a few assassins in Discworld, Lord Vetinari for a start. The assassin was Mr. Tea Time. Oh, yeah. Tiatime. Oh, I think it was, wasn't it? Tiatime. Tiatime. That's it. He wasn't. Yeah, I got confused then. I couldn't remember. It's been a long time since I read the books. The R2 is the high mobility Zaku. That's the one. I thought I recognised it. I'm just going to buy Games Workshop models that I like and just build them. I'm not interested in playing. Yeah, exactly. That's how I started out. It might be that I never actually get round to playing a game, even though I've got like battle cases full of figures. I might just end up painting them and selling them. I don't know. Tiatime. Yes. I'm off November 24th, 29th, so it will be cleaned. Yeah, do it. There's a kind of mental happiness that ensues when you do a good bout of cleaning on your workbench. I think what you need to do, Lynn, is you're a bit like a puppy dog with a new tennis ball. If you give a puppy dog a tennis ball, it's the best thing in the world. If you give it another tennis ball, it suddenly gets confused because it's got two tennis balls, which are both the best thing in the world. Then give it a third one, it's like, well, I don't know what to do, which one? And you keep saying, oh, I want that kit, I want this kit. I think you're overdoing yourself with which kits you want. I think you need to lock on. You need to lock onto one kit. When you've got your bench sorted out and all nice and tidy, you've got your workspace, you need to lock onto one thing and get that done. Or if it's something you've already got in your stash, and try and avoid all the you're like me, basically. You see something, oh, I need to build that. And then the moment you see the next shiny thing, you get carried away with that as well. And you never get anything done. Same with me. I've got an enormous stash because that's what I do. I start something, then I see the next shiny thing. I'm terrible like that. So, speaking from experience, you need to force yourself to just lock onto one cool thing. Try and stick with that. Otherwise, you end up with just a massive stash and nothing actually ever built or finished. Yeah, I've been there. We've all been there. Hello, Mama Fox. I think we've all been there at one point or the other. It's very easy to get distracted by the shinies. Of course, there are those crazy people who just like building up an enormous stash. I never quite figured that out. But you're missing out on all the fun of actually building them. This little grot. Combobulated. Now he's very similar to the orc on the gun at the back in that not a perfect fit. He kind of fits at a scant angle across his body, but it's not exactly a perfect fit. Now the join is, thankfully, they've put the connection point, the join point, on the edge of a leather strap. So if there is a little step, that's fine because it just looks like the step between the skin and the leather strap, the belt, whatever it is. So you can get away with that. That's not so bad, actually. Right. So that's him done. That would then conclude all the assemblage. That can stay off. That will go on there with the dude on the front. I like that. I do like that. He's like, yeah, you're screwed, mate. Imagine sitting on the front of that and driving along, because don't forget, orcs just go everywhere fast, and that's probably designed to ram into things. You're going to be strapped to the front of a vehicle, make sure you're not strapped to the ram plate on the front, because the word ram is not something you want to be associated with the thing you're strapped onto. This guy says you need to go like, apparently you put him in like, how do you do this now? You put him in this way, then rotate him around, okay, and then you drop it. Okay, so he's got his hand here that is supposed to grab onto this roll bar. So what it's saying is, do that. His hand underneath. It's another tight fit job. There we go. That sits on there. And he's in. Okay, well that's cool. And that's cool for one simple reason. Is that I don't need to... Well, I was going to say I don't need to glue him in, but I'm thinking I could probably actually paint him in situ, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, maybe. How easy to get in and out? That's the question. I don't want to like get him all painted up and then take off the paint off him trying to get him in. Also, I don't want to be able to not get him out. If I think putting him in, I would take the paint off his knuckles. But that's not something. It's not like that can't be touched up. It would be easy to paint him in situ because I've not got him on a stick. There's not really anywhere I can mount him to. But it would be easier to paint him in place. I think. I don't know actually. Would it be? This is what you have to think about. I've got to think about, can I get brushes into various crevices, and there's a belt around this belly that I can't quite get to. Yeah. I think it may be a case of paint him up and... Okay, paint him up and put him in. Because once he's in, it's quite easy to get him in there. Once he's in, he's not going to come out again. You're playing him on the tabletop, doesn't matter if he's a bit loose, if he's not physically glued in place. Alright, we'll leave him out. I've got to figure out then some way to mount him to a stick to paint him, because he's not gone on a base, so you can see the bottom of his feet. So that's the tricky bit. And you have that tricky bit of how do I mount him onto a stick to paint him. Yes. Think about these things. Like this dude here. When I paint him, dead easy. I drill a hole in his foot. I get a cocktail stick and glue it in place with some PVA glue, some white glue, Elmer's glue. I can paint him quite happily. Then I pull it out. Done. You're not going to see the bottom of his foot. This guy, there's no bit that you can't actually see. I mean, there's no bit that's actually covered up well enough that you could drill a hole in it and not have to fill it again afterwards. I'm thinking, I don't know. Tricky. I probably could paint that belt, but I'd have to go back and touch up his arm. You can see how this can take a while. It's not very exciting to look at me planning this. But anyway, we won't glue him in for now anyway. I'll figure that out some other. Don't need to sit here and figure it out while you guys are watching, because that's not very interesting for you guys. So that is the Boomdakka Snazzwagon built in its sub-assemblies. So he will go in there. That. He goes in there like that. Kaplink. This arm. If I get my twizzleters, I can do this without embarrassing myself. How embarrassing. That goes in there. Steering wheel into the socket. His arm just sits on there. It needs to be rotated around a bit and bit. Oh. Hello. My first Ork build, please like and subscribe. Well, again, shall we? Once again with feeling. That will just go in There, like there, do you see? The arm will rest on his torso. There you go, that's in. That sits like that. I hope you can see this. That sits like that. That will be easy to glue in place. Touch of glue. It won't make too much of a mess of the paint job, and if it does, I can touch it in, but also you can't really see that very well once the roof's on. The roof will go on after the stubber goes in there, or whatever orcs call their stubbers. What do orcs call machine guns? Shooters, that's it. Maybe it's I guess it's a shooter. I don't actually know. Goes on there. A lot of this stuff I won't need to glue in. It's kind of like that. You like that? That can lock in there. That can push in. That's the roof installed. His arm will go here like that. He will just simply, I'll glue that nub into that hole there when he goes in. So I don't have to glue his feet. I don't have to mess up the floor pan with glue. That will sit on there. And that's glued in. And the wheels will just be painted up separately. I've only kept them off so I can get into all the little crooks and nannies. And then they'll go on like that. So that'll sit on there. They're not going to stay on now though, because they're a bit loose. But you'll get the idea. That goes there, that goes there. Back wheels. A bit like Hot Wheels, but at the back. Yep, and then the grill on the front, which won't stay on. But you get the idea. That sits on the front line. And there you go. That is the Boomdakka Snazzwagon, which looks mint, to be honest. So yeah, that's going to go back into the collection to get eventually primed up and painted. But I'll leave it like that for now, because it's handy for me as storage space to not have hundreds of things everywhere. So, what time are we on? 4. Cool. So that's that bit. So I'm going to put him to one side. I need to put that in a bag of some sort, I think. A jiffulatory bag. In fact, let me get a jiffulatory bag. Because somebody gave me this suggestion last week, because I was saying about like where to put all these models and running out of space to put the models. I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to get myself a little sort of useful box company, little storage box, and just putting all my built models in there, and they can just sit in there waiting for paint. At the moment I just put them in my cabinet unpainted, but it's not exactly ideal because my cabinet is full. So that is the Boomdakka. Now what I do is I do keep I keep the data sheet, and I keep the back panel of the box that has all the stuff on it, like the paint suggestions, just so if I'm painting it and I need to refer to something, I can look at it and say, oh, it's that colour, it's supposed to be that colour. Assuming I paint it a proper colour, I might paint it a different colour completely. But at least on the orcs, for example, I know what colour the teeth are supposed to be, or the skin, or I can get an idea for it. If I'm not sure what something is, I can be like, is that supposed to be metal or skin or what? So I get the idea. So I'll cut out this piece, and I'll cut out the data sheet, and I keep all that. I've got a big pile of all the data sheets and stuff for all the things I've built so far. So that will be right on the box, on the bag. Boomdakka Snazzwagon. Done. That is that done. So what we're going to do now? Well, I'm going to have a swig of coffee. Oh. I shall have a look at the chats. And then we'll start something new. Oh, he's armless. Yeah. You see what I did there? So I must get myself an easy box company box. Because what I'll do is I'll just put things in zippy bags like this. Zippy bags. Jeffrey. Put things in zippy bags, and then I can just put them in the box. And it takes up a size space for a box, basically. I don't know why I never thought of that before. Quick look at chat then. Before we crack on. Everybody's saying hi, Mama Fox. Chat disconnected and then connected again, so apologies. It was me that fell out of chat. When you need to call the most visible university unseen, then you know that has to work. I've not lost trace of the chat there. Let me increase my brightness a bit. I'm having trouble seeing it. Discworld was an amazing series. It is a genius. It is a source of deep sadness and melancholy, says B3. There'll be no more Discworld books. I can't bring myself to read the final one. I don't think I've read the final one, actually. And when the watch has such awesome characters like Corporal Captain Carrot, Corporal/Captain Carrot, the self-professed sixth dwarf with a magic sword. I also, for safety reasons, don't believe in dragons because of those books. The leaves are falling on top of my house and it sounds like rain. I wish it was raining. Oh, that sounds good, actually. Mount him on the gun, paint him first, then paint the gun the next day, says Dave, the butcher that model. Mount him on the gun. Well, the guy... hey, which one? You mean the guy that's on the gun at the back? I've glued the guy to the gun, because then I don't want to be trying to attach the guy to the gun with the glue everywhere. It was a mess. It was fiddly enough trying to do it while it's not painted, so I've just mounted the guy and the gun together, and then I'll just be able to glue the gun to the vehicle. Or just put a magnet. I could always take that. The other option, of course, there's the dude with the gun. That's easy to paint now, so I can paint it all easily. The other option I've got, because all I need to do is literally put a dot of glue on that, take the paint off, dot of glue there, it'll glue into that, no problem. I'm not having to put any glue on this floor pan. Or, what I could do is quite simply cut that nub off and mount a tiny magnet in there and a tiny magnet in there. That's him, locked in place then. Could do. I've done that before. So there's lots of options. But you weren't here at the start when I was explaining that you have to plan how to build things in sub-assembly so that everything is still paintable, but also how to make those sub-assemblies attachable without ruining your paint job with glue. You never heard of Discworld, Lynn? Get to the bookshop. Challenge Fox time. Paint it yellow, I dare you. I double dare you with cherries on. I can paint yellow, it's not a problem. Don't forget I did the that little Gene Steeler's, whatever that little car thing was. That was yellow. Fine. Good primer coat, good base coat, done. Yellow's not a problem. I want to hang out with Nanny Og, says Timothy. She'd be the ultimate grandma, absolutely. I was looking at the Amazons and saw another line of games from Mantic Games. They're way cheaper and look really cool. No, the grot hanging out the side. Oh, okay. Hang on then. I've lost track of what you said. Mount him on the gun. He's not mounted on a gun. Paint him first, then paint the gun the next day. Mount him on the gun. But he's not. He's not actually mounted to. Oh, he's not. I see what you mean. He's not actually manning the big. He's not manning the shooter. That just happens to be in the front. He's actually leaning out the window with a pistol, with a blaster. Yeah, he's not actually doing that. But the good thing is, with that big shooter in the front, I don't have to glue that in or the roof, because the roof just snaps into place, but it holds that shooter in place completely. So I can paint the shooter, I can paint the inside of the roof, snap it all together. So I think I've got a good thing going there. Anyway, right, swig of water, because next it's time for something new. What are we going to do? It's time for something new. Go for a great big poo. I don't know where I'm going with that. Let us do the Wazbomb Blastajet. Yes. Now, here's the plan with this. If you remember, I bought this myself from my good friends at Goblin Gaming. goblingaming.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your tabletop gaming needs. That's their logo. I bought this myself with my own cash monies from the Goblin Gaming. And what I plan to do is get this built up on Warhammer Sundays, like we are now. And then I will film the paint job. But here's the trick. I'll be filming this for their channel. So this will be a video build series that goes on the Goblin Gaming channel. And I might make it available for my page. I don't know yet. But ultimately, it'll be on their channel, not my channel. Because I also have the eBay Blastajet that I bought, which was poorly painted. That's going to be a Tabletop Trauma Center eBay rescue. I will be taking that's already built, stripping that down to bare plastic and painting that. So that's going to be on my channel. The eBay rescue one will be the second Tabletop Trauma Center series. This is going to be filmed for the guys at Goblin. The reason it's not going to go on my channel is I'm going to be able to sell this when I've finished it. When I can get to a post office to post it. So, because I'm going to be able to sell this, I can put it on their channel and not worry about not having the video on my channel. So, I need to blow my nose. 1 second. So, we're going to get it built on here anyway. I'm going to mute the microphone while I blow my nose. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so it's not going to be on my channel, the painting job, but you will see me paint the eBay Rescue. So we have this wonderful kit. It's the Wazbomb. I'll zoom out there. I'm zoomed in again, aren't I? Zoom out. There we go. Not got much of a zoom on this camera. The Wazbomb Blastajet, which you can also build as a Blitzer bomber, a Dakka jet, or a burner bomber. Or technically, you could build it as any of these and just do it, do it as. Now, the way I see this, it's a difficult one. I'm going to build this just for fun. I'm not going to build it as well, I'm going to see what I can do with it. I like this with all the things, but I also like the split cockpit there, the double cockpit with the gunner in the back, and I like the one with the bubble gun. So I'm torn between the Blitzer bomber, the burner bomber, or the Blastajet. This one, kind of boring. The Dakka jet, one pilot, Now, when I do my eBay Rescue, it's basically that, but it's not even got the tailplane on it. It's just that without the tailplane. That's my eBay Rescue, but I'm going to see what's left over from this because I can apply it to that, my eBay version. So I don't know yet whether I'm going to do the Blitzer bomber, the burner bomber, or the Blastajet with the enormous, great big gun. I like this. I'm liking this bubble gun. I can see it being a living nightmare to paint, but I'm liking this bubble gun. But I'm also liking this double cockpit with the rear gunner, or the gunner facing the back. I don't know. This one looks a lot more busier, because it's got the gunner on the tail as well. But I don't know yet. Yeah, fully painted for that other jet is an understatement, says Dan. Yeah, the tabletop trauma jet I've got, it's downstairs now, I can't show you, but it's basically that with no tailplane, and all they've done is they've painted it, for some reason painted it blue, just sprayed it blue, and then sprayed it like what's the sandy colour? I forgot the name of it. The sandy Citadel spray, that colour. Xandri dust. They've just sprayed it as Xandri dust. But they also sprayed over the cockpit, so yeah, thanks for that. I think it's got, I don't know, I think that's what they've done. It looks like there's blue under the Xandri dust as far as I can tell. But it's weird. So it kind of gives me carte blanche to paint it how I want, which means I can use airbrush. I'm tempted to do the burner bomber because I like this. I like this double cockpit. So we've got some bigger pictures in the instruction book. Hang on. Get your bits out. Oh, look at the size. Oh, it's huge. It's massive. Look at this. Oh. Oh. It's got a lot of bits. Yes. One or two bits. But what I'm hoping is I'll have enough bits left over that I can add more to the eBay Rescue one. I'm going to put these in a bag because I want to keep them safe. I know the idea of keeping nice, clean, shiny canopies on an Ork vehicle is stupid because it's Orks. It doesn't need to be cleaning, but I just don't like getting clear pieces scratched. If you're ever making a model with clear parts like this, whether it's this or the Storm Wolf or the Storm Raven, anything like that, always get your clear parts and put them in a plastic bag just to stop them getting ridiculously over scratched. So I'll put that there. Let's have a look at destructions. That's what we've got. Let me have a look. Let's see what the good doctor has in his magic bag. So we've got the Wazbomb Blastajet. I love that, Waz. If you're not British, you won't know that Waz means to go fast or to scoot, to zoom. If you say, or it means to pass something. Just Waz me that bag of chips. It means pass me that bag of chips. If you say, you just Waz that over to Dave, it means can you just go and give that to Dave? Can you pass that over to Dave? Or if you say, Waz it over here, just pass it over here. But you might say, I'm just going to Waz down to the shops. So I like the fact they've done that. It's very British, very English. Dakka jet, Blitzer bomber, burner bomber. Yeah. So let's have a look and see what we've got. Painting that colour, yeah, silver and yellow. That'd be lovely. That'd be lovely. I've not read through these yet. So what are we doing picture-wise? Got any good pictures at the end? No. No. Arse. Okay, so we've got that one. Okay, we've got one there. Well, that's a bit numpty-ish, isn't it? They give you a painting guide. Apologies, I'm flipping the pages constantly here. They give you a painting guide for that. And they give you a painting guide for that. Not that you need a painting guide. I need a painting guide anyway. Oh well. Never mind. Okay, and it seems they only give you the actual data sheet for the Wazbomb Blastajet. I appreciate there's 4 different things in here. And it does say, the essential rules will get your new unit on the battlefield. For the full rules for this unit, see the codex relevant to your army. So, there you go. So they give you 1 data sheet for 4 models. Yeah, it's a bit limiting. Here we go. Ein Wazbomb Blastajet ist ein eisernes Modell, das mit 2 Wazbomb-Megakanonen, eine Gretschenkone und einem Stickbombschmeißer aus... I'm giving up now. I'm giving up now. I should stop trying to do German. Right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just... I don't know. I like the bubble gunner, I think. Unless it's not got a dude in it. This one has a dude in the back. This one has... I think there's a dude in there. Probably a grot. That's just a pilot. And that's a pilot and an automatic gun on the back. I might mix and match and do it because I like that tailplane with the grill there. But the gun doesn't interest me. I like that gun. But then again, oh, you got different wings as well. I never thought of that. You got like swept wings and straight wings. Oh, straight wings are boring. Oh, I don't know now. Maybe I could make the Blitzer bomber, but with the bubble canopy. Oh, I don't know now. I don't know now. It's torn. Let's see what chat's doing. What's Fox building? Some German thing. Das ist richtig. That looks like something I would like to build. Yes, told you. Remember, you see the new shiny thing? It's the new shiny thing you want. You forget what the last thing you wanted to build was. Choose the features you like and wang them all together into the ultimate Orky goodness bomber, says B3. Yeah. Or going to the toilet for a quick waz. Yes, there's also that. That's the Ork version of the A10 Warthog, says David Butch, that model. When the main character is called Cohen the Barbarian, you know it'll be good. Top right, the Wazdaja. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing for the. That's the kind of what's. This is basically what's built for the one I've got, the eBay one. It's basically that, but with a closed cockpit and no tailplanes. I've not got anything like these. I'm thinking. It hurts. I might do that, but with those wings. But those wings means no bombs or no big bombs. I can live with that. Right, let's do the Blitzer bomber, but with the bubble canopy. Let's just see if that's even possible. It might mean all the wrong parts. Right. So we want the Blitzer bomber, but no, we don't. Yes, we. I don't know. There's too many choices. I don't know what to do. My brain's not working. The Blitzer bomber looks like an F-86 Sabre. That makes the wings look straight, but this says they're not. It's supposed to be like, angled, swept a little bit. Oh, why must I look like a dog? Blitzer bomber. Let's just get to the relevant bit where it says about adding the bubble turret. They also go to step 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5. So step 1 is pretty much is the Wazbomb Blastajet. Step 2. Okay. Wazbomb Blastajet. So we're not doing the Wazbomb Blastajet. So we kind of ignore step 1, I guess. Okay, the step 1 is basically the entire steps of building a Wazbomb Blastajet. So step 2. Follow step 2 for all variants. So we do step 2. I'm going to make some marks on here. I'm going to make my maker's mark. I'm a maker. I'm going to make a mark. So do step 2. That's all of this goodness. All of the goodness. Step 3 is for the Dakkajet. Am I making a Dakkajet? I'm not making a Dakkajet now. Step 4 is the Blitzer bomber, so I do want that one. And step 5 will be the Blitzer bomber, or the burner bomber. So it's just, it looks like, quite simply, a different part here, whether you want the bubble canopy or these bits here for the rear gunner section. Okay, but it's the same hole in the fuselage basically. So it's just 53 for that one. Potentially, that would mean you could swap them out. You could build both and swap them out. Unless it's the same pilot, dude. 37 for that one. And it is... Oh no, different gunner, I think. Okay, so is it the same gunner? No, it's the same gunner. Okay, so you can't build both because you only get one 37 piece. Okay, so we could technically do the whatever the hell this one is, Blitzer bomber with the burner bomber bubblegum. Burner bomber bubblegum. I hate saying all these Ork names. They're too complicated and confusing. Mama Fox, he's thinking again. Phone the vet. I can hear Fox's brain becoming hex out of cheese error. Please insert more salt. There's a lot of MiG-21 going on those jets, says Graham. Absolutely. Go through the kit and see how many wings there are. Good call. You got to do a mashup, Fox. Make it your own. Wang is a technical term for throwing, Andy, as well as wanging, for example. Wazbomb, Decker Blitz, Bomber, Blastajet, do it. Build all the things, says Mayhem. Mama Fox, quick phone the vets again. He's another horse tranquilizer. I think I shall go to the flea market. Hope to find a kit or two, says Paul Di Tommaso. Do it. Be a rebel, have 3 canopies. That's not what I use ketamine for. Yeah, I could do 3 canopies, but there's no way to put 3 canopies. Anyway, let's just stop farting about. How many wings do you get? Let's just do some science. Fuselage. Bomb. Many bomb. Oh, I need to put that in the bag of clear things, don't I? I'll get the bag of clear things open. I've got to be honest with you, I never quite trust these clear bases because you're supposed to just super glue that onto the base there like that. It has little tabs, which would be great, except there's no little holes. How is... You have to cut these off and then just super glue it to the base. A, the super glue can fog the clear plastic up, but that's fixable. But B, I'm never quite that sure that it's going to hold it. So what I might do, what I like to do, or I might try this time, is when I did my Space Wolves Storm Wolf, I actually built a diorama around it, and I built up some PVA snow landscape. PVA and snow powder and other bits and bobs, and build up a landscape around it so it can unlock this in place. What I've seen people do is use bits of sprue to go around the base when it's glued on. It goes on like that. You put sprue around it so that it just slots in, and the sprue comes up here, and then you build a landscape diorama around it. So this little bit is kind of buried like that, and it can't come off and it can't go anywhere. Because I don't trust that staying on there with just super glue. You take these bits off, obviously, but I don't trust that to stay on with just super glue. So yeah. Anyway, that's for a future times. I do have, I think somewhere, I have a spare flyer base with the stalk on it, purely for mounting things on that and painting, so I'll have to hope it fits. We get, oh hang on, we only get 2 wings. So how have they photographed it so they look swept and they look straight. How the... That's weird. Also, that's got a different... We'll find out as we go along. Oh, I see. That's wings go down, wings go up, wings go down. Oh, I see. They put them the other way up. Oh, okay. So you do only get one set of wings, so I can build whatever the hell I want. Okay, fine. Well, I kind of like the look of the Blitzer bomber. But then again... I don't know. In that case, we'll do a burner bomber. I don't know. We'll figure it out. More bits. Base, and we get some orky decals, which is kind of cool. I like that. Of course, you get the black and white checker pattern, because of course you do. Yeah. I like them. Look at them. Yeah, cool. We'll have some fun with that. Right, so let us commence. What time is it? 5 o'clock. Let's put this back in there. We shall start off with step 2, because that's the step that everybody should start with. Do. Step 2, follow step 2 for all variants. Then we shall follow step 2. I doubt we'll get very far, but we'll try. 4 sprues, which means we're going to be going backwards and forwards with sprues constantly now. Step 1, glue 2 things together, then wait half an hour to seal the gap. I've just realised something. I put him in there, but he needs to have his arse sorted out. I need to keep him out, don't I? I need to clean his arse later on with his, yeah, because I filled his bum, didn't I? Yeah. Anyway, let's crack on. Let us commence with the constructionations. So, I can always add more bombs if I need to and things like that. So 62, 64 and 81. Any idea what sprues these will be on? No idea. Well, I know which ones they'll be on. They'll be on that one. 62. That's the old... I'll get rid of this sprue. Just double check this sprue can be thrown away from the Boomdakka thing, fat bastard thing, wagon thing. I don't know. Right, so I want 62, 64 and 81. 62. This one. Yes. Big, innit? It's going to be a big chicken. Not going to have an insignificant amount of size to it. It's kind of like a 1/48 scale, I think, isn't it? Maybe. 4/12. 81 and 64. Now, I happen to know that's what 64 looks like, because I looked at that on my eBay rescue one. Of course, I don't know where the hell I'm going to put this when I've actually built it. It's a bit too big to fit in the box. And 81, which is like the landing hook, which could be anywhere, unless we somehow get lucky and for some reason Games Workshop have had a numbering sequence on their actual sprues suddenly. 79, 104, 87. Oh wow. Have they actually started numbering these sensibly? Could this be the first time I've come across sensible numbering on a GW kit? Could be. Who can say? And I will also need part 31. I may as well get 31 off the sprue now. 31, other side of the thing. There you go. Lovely shiny. There you go. I'm leaving nice big nubs on the fuselage halves here. Oops, the bit I didn't notice. Go there. So, 62, 81, and 64. Right, so we need to clean these pieces up first. Let's get these cleaned up. See what we have. Hopefully I'm on camera and not out of shot. Look at chat. Need to Bandai design the molds for Warhammer vehicles. They will hide all the huge seam lines. Absolutely. Bandai have a way of hiding the joint parts. The joint. Start again. They have a way of hiding all the joints in actual seam lines on the model, on the vehicle, or whatever. I'll start that again. They have a way of making the... My brain. They have a way of hiding the joint lines in what would be panel lines in the actual vehicle. You know what I mean. You don't have to actually fill all of them in. Not always, but a lot of the time. Right, I've got almost no space to work with here because there's paints over there. I'm running out of space. I'm sat with my arms like this because all the sprues in the way. Right, that's that bit. Get the big nubs off first. Big nubs! So this being Ork, of course, if I mess anything up, I've got the beautiful idea that if there's any little lines or things I can't get rid of, no problem. Plastic card and rivets. I can add rivets, I can add plastic card. We shall have some fun with this. Riveting that. I've just used... Oh no, that's right. I thought I used the wrong cutters there. So like I say, this will be painted up and videoed in the future, probably in the new year, for the guys at Goblin Gaming, for their YouTube channel, which is Goblin TV on the YouTubes. I might make it available on my channel just for patrons. I don't know if it's worth doing that because they can easily watch it on the Goblin channel. I don't know if it's any benefit to that. Like I say, the reason it's not going on my channel is because I've paid for this kit myself, and it means I can sell it. Once this is done and painted, I can put it up for sale when I can go to a post office without fear of, you know, killing Mama Fox. So that's why it won't be on my channel. If they'd sent me the kit, then I'd film it for my channel as well. If they send me a kit, I'd have to send it back once it's finished, like I do with e-models, for their display cabinets. And that's how I make my money. Now, I'm not going to get rid of these nubs here. I've explained this before, but for anybody who's new, I'm not going to get rid of the nubs along the edge of this fuselage. And the reason I'm not going to do that, and I'll get this half now here is ready as well. The reason I'm not going to do that now, I'm trimming them down with the nippers. Get rid of the big nub. Big nubs! Or in that case, to make a mess of it. Really mangled that for some reason. With that one. I'll take the actual nubs themselves off. But I'm not going to sand them down because it's a tube. We've had this conversation before. When you've got two halves of something, I can do these bits because these are just like connection nubs. It doesn't really matter about these. There's two little pegs that go into a hole, so that's fine. When you've got something that's a tube or a two-part piece, like a two-part mould, like this, and you've got, oh, there's a nub there, and you've got things you need to sand down on the edge, on the contact edge. I'll need to fill this gap, obviously, this seam, when I glue it together. And I'll be sanding it down. Now, if I get rid of that nub there and sand it away, and get rid of that nub there and sand it away, and I put this together, what you might find is that when you've separately sanded those two bits of panelling, you may have sanded this side more than you sanded that side because you sand separately. So what you'll have is two pieces that go together like that. And you'll have a step and you have to sand it even more and keep working on it. If I glue all this together first and fill the gap, get all that done, then when I'm sanding the seam, the seam away, the filling that's filled the gap, I'm also sanding the nub away. I'm keeping that shape and I'm keeping them both level. There's no point cleaning that up and then having to clean it up again. So whenever you get something that's two halves and the nub's right on the edge, just leave it. Trim it down so you've just got a little tiny nub. And then get rid of that when you're sanding away the thing that's filled, whether you've used putties or fillers or just sprue glue or whatever. Get rid of that then. This bit here. In fact, maybe even if when you get rid of the nubs, you can even just loosely put it together like this and then get rid of nubs. It's a good way to see where nubs are that you've forgotten about as well. There you go. There's one there. So that'll do for now. I don't need to, because we're going to be resanding that anyway. What I will do is take my filing file and just quickly sand that, because this is a peg that goes into a hole, I think, later on. So I might as well sand that bit now. Because you're not, that's going to be inside something. It's an attachment point. So we're going to put that there. We need to now, I'm going to move these sprues because they are seriously in the way and it's very inconvenient. Well, I've got nowhere to put the actual sprues. So I'll put the sprues there. I'll put that keyboard there. I don't know. I need a studio. I really need a studio. Now who needs to clean their bench up, Fox? Yeah, sorry about that, Lynn. Mess times. Dave, your bench is cleaner than his right now. Dave says there's always a first time. Dave decorated his bedroom, spare bedroom, and built a whole workbench in there, and it looked fantastic for 5 minutes. The moment he actually started doing stuff on the bench, it was just like a bomb zone. And it's true. Everybody's workbench goes the same way. The moment you start doing stuff, you've just destroyed any. You look at a nice clean workbench and you have this wonderful feeling of happiness and creative possibility. Within 5 minutes, your workspace is full of paints and brushes and shit, and you've got a workspace this big. You always get down to an A4 workspace, A4 size workspace. This workbench is like 6.5 foot long, and it's about 3 foot deep. But this is my work area. Over there, you can't see, but over there, there's a load of paints that I'm using on the Lehman Russ. Probably in the wrong place now. Where's the middle? There's the middle. Yeah, over there is a load of paints for the Lehman Russ. That's taking up space and getting in the way. If they weren't there. But I don't want to put them away, because if I put them away, it's kind of, I need to get the Lehman Russ done. And I've been fighting the painting genie. The painting genie's been saying, no, I don't really want to do painting today. And filming. I've been fighting the painting genie to actually get some work done on it. So if I put them away, I'll lose that. I risk losing that mojo. I don't want to do that. Paints need to stay out. Now this is an edge that's not going to be visible because it's going to go inside the fuselage, so I can just quickly clean that bit. This bit I don't know. I'm going to properly clean it. I'll trim the nub off. I've got to be careful I don't snap this chain. Are we in the middle? Yes. I moved the camera, so I don't know where the camera is now. I think this is I'm going to guess this is like the hook that comes down when you land on you get the capture thing, the capture hook, although if it's not landing on a boat, it's kind of weird that they've got that. I'll have a look at chat in a moment. Mould lines on this kit are nice. They're there, but they're not white. They're just grey, so I can sand them away. I'm seeing them as a three-dimensional shape, not a colour. I think that Boomdakka Snazzwagon was just a bad print. For whatever reason. Maybe it was too hot or too cold when they pulled it out. Because that was stress marks. When you stretch the plastic, if you stretch this plastic and stress it, it goes white. Like when you get a piece of plastic, I find a bit of sprue and I cut some sprue like that. You see how it goes white? Like that? That's the stress on the plastic. So if you snap a piece off by accident, you'll see it kind of goes white where it snapped. And that's what that mould line was doing on the Boomdakka Snazzwagon. But it's like, I don't understand how you get a mould line to do that. So when it was being, sanded down, it was probably absolutely flat, but it was still visible because it was a light colour. And that's what was throwing me off. I probably over sanded all the mould lines on that Boomdakka Snazzwagon. Because it might well be that what I could see as a white line on the model, once it's primed, is invisible because it's just a white line, not a white raised surface. I don't know. But this is much better. I like the fact I can clean up any errors with rivets and plastic card. That looks very Bajoran, doesn't it? I like that. Very bejeweled. So this needs to go in here. Now on the one I got from eBay, this wasn't in properly. There's gaps around the edge, so I get the impression whoever put it together didn't actually pay very good attention to what they were gluing together and didn't line it up very well. There's like a gap around the edge, like they've done it like that or something. They were clearly a bit challenged in the old assemblage way. Or does it go behind it or in front of it? It's not quite clear. If it goes behind, it fits like a dream. If it goes in front, it still fits like a dream. That will go there. That will go. Oh, it falls. Oh well, never mind. I'm trying to loosely dry fit it. Assuming it goes in front of that little lip. That way around. I can loosely fit it in place without it falling out. Somehow. Is it that way? Yeah, it is that way. No, it's that way. There's a notch taken out the top of your spoon. The image in the instructions makes it look like the fat bit's at the bottom. But there is no fat bit. It's the same. That notch there coincides with that bit there. There we go. That's how it goes like that. This will sit on top. Oh, with the slipping and the. Oh. I'm trying to make sure it does go in front of and not behind. Entrada, salida. Oh, I felt it come off again. Right. Gimpatron. I think it can't go in that way. You know, there's always something in there. Man, there's always something. Oh, let's just glue it in. Stop being a spoon fox. Right, let's get this bit glued in first. This bit needs to go here like that. Weird. That. Okay, that goes like that. Okay. Okay, maybe it's not a landing hook then. Maybe it's just a strange little greeble. That needs to go in there anyway. Let us glue this. We're doing our first bit of gluing, our inaugural gluing on the Boomdakka Jet, or whatever. We'll go like that once. So I don't need to worry about that. Getting some glue on it. Boomdakka Naka Cracker Jet. I don't know. I'll have to come up with a suitably funny name and then do a completely custom build. So I can justify the completely custom name. Put a big radar on it and be this Boomdakka Tracker Jet. I don't know. I'm making it up now. That can go there. We get some glue on the inside. Why is the glue all the way over there, Fox? I don't know, Fox. It's a very good question. I'm glad you asked me that question. I shall answer that question by not answering it. So that will go on there. I'm not going to glue this together. Or do I need to glue this together now? That sits in there like that. Perfectly. Unlike the other one that didn't. On my eBay Rescue, it doesn't actually. How can the person that built the eBay Rescue not get that to fit? There's no way to have it not straight. It's impossible. That's some lack of skill they had, obviously. There we go. Squish that in. Get some of the glue splooging out. Remember, if you're new to my stuff and you've never done it before, Tamiya extra thin, it melts the plastic. It's a welding cement. It melts the plastic a little bit. And when it does, if you then squeeze the parts together, it helps fill that gap. I'm going to need some tape now, aren't I? So I need to get myself some big boy tape, I think. Maybe some slightly smaller big boy tape. Okay. Is it a backwards firing machine gun? Beyond hope. What? Is what a backwards firing machine gun? I don't know what you mean. It's a belly gun. That. Oh, it's like a chain and a hook, I think. I don't know what it is. I hope it's not a gun because I've just not hollowed it out. I've got a seam line there as well. But that's a chain, so I don't know what it is. It must be, maybe it's part of the, I don't know. I don't think it's a gun. So that's them on. I need to now glue the two fuselage. fuselage together. And the way I'm going to do this is not the way you expect. Oh, hang on, there's a big... Alright, this bit here, I'm going to have to trim this off. That's a good point. That bit there, there's a nub. But I can't take that off later. So let's just double check. Before we glue anything. Nub there, nub, nub, nub. Nub, 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 nub. I sound like a bloody Ewok. That there. That one, I need to take that off now. Good job I spotted that, because that ain't going to come off later on without tears. Oh, there'll be some crying in the showers tonight. Now the good thing is, like I said before, it's an Ork vehicle. It's made of scrap and found things they find on the battlefield. So it doesn't matter if I get anything poorly sanded or I carve a bit out that I didn't want to carve out. Any little sanding errors or cleanup errors, absolutely fine. Because there's ways to, because it's supposed to be a scrappy thing, you can always add plastic card and other bits and bobs or put damage on it. All kinds of things. Right, so this will now go together. Yeah, see. The way we're going to do this. Really? We're doing this before we put the cockpit? How is the cockpit? How does the... I'm not used to building a plane where the cockpit isn't installed on one half of the fuselage and then... But I'll be honest, it makes my life a lot easier because the cockpit just drops in, which means I can completely paint the entire plane and drop the cockpit in. I can paint the cockpit as a separate entity. This we like. I don't have to necessarily mask the cockpit off and then paint the whole thing. Or I don't have to necessarily paint the cockpit interior first and then mask it off to paint the plane around it. Okay, we like that. Right, let's get this thing glued. So, we're going to do this slowly and carefully. Again, we're going to sort out the nubs later on. So get some glue around this grill, this intake grill, to get that locked in place. I'm going to feed some glue to this gap here. I'm not fussed if it's a little bit messy because we're going to need that. I'm going to feed the glue along this bit. Just starting here for now. I can leave it 10 or 15 seconds. And then, trick, put the lid back on your glue, is to squeeze. So squeeze like that. Squeeze on here. And what you'll see is, because it's had 10 or 15 seconds just to melt the plastic a little bit, that melted plastic is now squeezing up out of that gap. I don't know if you'll see it on camera at all. Let me just see if I can. You might not see it, but there's a little bead of squishy plastic now. Now it's not massive. It doesn't have to stick out a lot. It just needs to stick out of that gap a little bit. Because that plastic, that melted plastic, is now filling that gap. And it is by far, see if you can see it on here. Let me see if I can get a good view of that. If I squeeze that together. This is by far, where you've got a tiny gap, the easiest way to fill a gap. Especially on aircraft, and this kind of thing where you've got a tube, a basic tube shape. As long as it's a good fitting, well designed kit, where there's not massive gaps. If this was an Airfix or Rivel, it'd be like a big gap like that, so you could get a horse through. But when it's a tiny gap, that glue is now filling that gap. It's more than enough to fill it, so you can't see a hole. It's structurally reinforcing. Now we do have a problem. We'll have a problem later on. There's a nub under there. I hadn't anticipated this bit. We'll be able to get rid of it, but it's a little bit annoying because I've started gluing it now, but never mind. Quite a lot of glue splooged out there, but that's fine. On the top here. We can just slowly work our way along. You could do the whole thing at once, but I prefer to go in steps just because I can take my time and I'm not panic about getting everything glued and then squeezing it, because this stuff flashes off really quick. So if I start gluing the whole thing, by the time I've got this bit glued down here, that bit's dried off and I can't squeeze it. So go in small steps. Get some glue down there. Now this bit under here, you can't actually really see the joint because it's under that chain. Oh, there is a nub under there which I hadn't spotted, I hadn't realised and thought about, which kind of makes things interesting. I've got to get a knife blade under there to get rid of that nub. We'll be able to sort it out. Same on this bit of engine here. Now it's not always possible to get this, to do this well, depending on what kind of surface details you've got. This is fairly flat, simple surface detail. So I can easily get a sanding sponge or a knife or the scraping tool in, on this bead of plastic, clean it up. No problem. And I'm not fussed about having a lot of glue, because again, I'm going to be sanding it. Although I might get rid of some excess there. My brush dried off and just mop that up. Because we are going to be sanding over this joint. Having a lot of glue sticking out is not a problem. Have a little clampy clamp. Put that on there. I'll hold that bit together because it's not sticking quite as well. There we go. That bit's got glue splooging out. You've got this bit here. Now I know there's going to be like an engine nozzle sticking out of there, so I'm not so fussed about that bit. There you go. And that is now ready to dry for a bit, and I can get rid of that mould line. So it does depend on the kit. I'm really pleased with the fact that it came out really nicely and didn't require, it's going to take like 5 minutes to clean that up. No filler, no putty, no nothing. And when I do clean it up, there aren't lots of raised details that I'm going to be at risk of sanding away when it's done. So I'm really happy with that. That's going to be a real quick cleanup job. It may well be, if you're doing like World War II aircraft, of course, there'll be lots of panel lines and rivets and things that you'd have to end up sanding away. There's easy ways to fix them. I'm not going to have to show you that, but on this, thankfully. With that, there's nothing there. There's no details there. These are fairly simple. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. And that little squidge of glue will be hopefully more than enough to fill that gap. And that took, what, 5 minutes? I've not had to tape it. I've got one clamp just for that bit where it didn't really want to go together very well. I can't quite fill that gap in there very well. But I think there's an engine nozzle sticks out of there anyway, so you're not even going to see that. But we'll still clean it up. Just get some extra glue down here just to give it some extra stick. Again, you're not going to see this when the engine nozzle's on. The exhaust nozzle even. And that's it. That's how easy it can be to fill a seam down 2 pieces. Whether you're building the fuel tank for SSRB or you're building this kind of fuselage for an aircraft, like I say, on proper real world aircraft, like a Revell, like I say, a Spitfire or something like that, you might not be that lucky. It might be that in doing that, when you sand back the bead of glue, you end up obliterating a load of panel lines that go through that centre point. We're lucky in that there are no actual panel lines going through where I'm going to be sanding, because there's always stuff in the way. There's that there, there's that there. There's no panel lines I'm going to have to... I mean, they're easy to rescribe, and there's no rivet detail, which is also good. However, I am tempted when I do this to put more rivets on. I want more rivets. You've got rivets here. I haven't got rivets here. More rivets. I might add more rivets to this, just for fun. I may add more panels, I don't know yet. I have had the idea of adding some plastic card to look like temporary quick repairs, like a square of plastic card at a jaunty angle here, to look like they've just spanged some plate on there and welded it on quickly to fix a hole. That might be cool. We'll see what my imagination takes me. Right, so that's there. We'll leave that to glue for a second. I shall have a quick look at chat. A cloud just went over and everything went dark. Now the sun's back. Yay! The raging modeler... What are we talking about? Who are we calling an idiot? The same guy cooking one of these. I don't know who you're talking about. My D&D game cancelled tonight. I was looking forward to that, says Raging Modeler. Sorry to hear that, dude. I don't know who you're talking about, but I don't want to say anything that you've written down in case it's somebody I shouldn't be saying bad things about. Where did you get those files? What, these? Or you mean the actual physical files? This is from a hardware store called B&Q, which we have in the UK. They cost me £4 for a pack of 10 generic ones about 25 years ago. They're just cheap, crappy files. This came with the Mong model, Mong, M-E-N-G, Mong, starter set, which was a crappy pair of cutters that are rubbish, a file and a knife, about 15 quid. These were a gift from Kenneth in Australia, so I don't know where he got them from. They are the Infini, I-N-F-I-N-I, Infini model sanding sponges. They're really nice. And these are ultimate sanding sponges from UMP. You get them from eModels. Right, Reggie Modeler, who are you talking about? Who are you calling an idiot? I don't know. He's calling someone an idiot. We've been friends for many years now, but in the past few months he's been testing me. Found out he might lose his job, ordered a new gaming laptop, told me off for buying stuff, and then spent £100 on RPG books. I shall leave you to that conversation. Nubs, nubs, says Mayhem. Somebody offered Major Modeler £20 for a blue dragon that cost him £15 to buy the kit. Yeah. That's one of the things that put me off commissions, or made me laugh when I was doing commissions, when I used to do commissions. I get people, and the thing is, when you're doing commission work, the people that want to pay you to make a model or paint a model have no concept of where my chat's just gone, have no concept in any way, shape or form of how much work goes into painting a model. I had one guy approach me once and said, will you do me a Space Wolves Storm Wolves just like the one you did? Can I buy that one? I said, no, it's been sold now. I said, okay, can you do me one? And I was doing commissions then. I said, yeah, sure. You want it exactly the same? Said, yeah, exactly like you've done. I said, right, that'll be, what was it, 45 quid for the model, which you have to pay for. And then it will be, I think I estimated it about 450 quid. No, 350 quid. Yeah, and that'll be 350 quid. How much? Well, the model only costs 45 quid. I'm like, yeah, that's, let's say, 80 hours at X, whatever it was, an hour. Or, I said, here's the estimate of how many hours it took to paint. Here's how much I charge per hour. That'll be 350 quid, please. And he's like, oh, I thought it'd be like 100 quid. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing like 60, 70 hours of work for £15. Do you think I work at McDonald's or something? Yeah, they seem to forget how they don't know. Sometimes they don't know how long things take. But sometimes they're like, well, I'm not paying that much. So, okay, well, you go and buy the kit and you paint it then. Because everybody's going to get the same price. You can't expect 100 hours work, but you're paying someone less than somebody at McDonald's would earn, or less than, minimum wage. At the very least, you should expect minimum wage. 100 hours work at minimum wage, 750 quid. So, yeah, they never quite like that. Say that to them. Like, well, what do you think I'm a McDonald's employee? Right, next we have to build the two boosty things on the side. Do we want the boosty things on the side? Or do we want... What do we want? Are these going to look the same? Let's see. These look like... How do these look in the end? These have got exhaust that go over the top like that. Oh no, we don't want that. Oh no. Although, having said that... Confused now. Step 2 for all variants. Step 2. Okay, we don't want step 3. Right, okay. So we don't want step 3. Don't make that mistake. Don't want that. Don't want that. My pen makes that noise. It's not me making that noise, it's the pen making that noise. Mimi. Right. So the bit that you do for all variants is basically glue two halves of the fuselage together. Okay. Note taken. So we've got to build these bits on the side now. So 46 and 47, 66 and 65. Well, what I think we'll do We've only got about 15 minutes to go, so why don't we just leave it there? Let's have a quick last look at the chat. We'll catch up with the chat and then we'll call it a day, I think. Apparently the guy said, if you need something to paint all my Dark Souls minis. I said, it'll cost you. He said, don't bother then. Yeah, I'm not sacrificing 20, 30, 40, 50 or more hours for nothing. It does annoy you sometimes. Like, you know, this is why it's also annoying when you want to sell, like, say I want to sell one of my pieces on eBay and there's people on there selling just as good painted ones for like half the price, and you're like, oh, you're selling it at like £2 an hour. That's just stupid. Like somebody selling a studio quality painted Lehman Russ for 150 quid. That's really not making any money on that. Graham says 6:33, time to dip out. Hopefully catch you through the week. Take care, my friend. I shall see you soon. Don't forget we're back tomorrow for e-models. Is Fox Rivet counting his own model? Always. Good thing Fox is not keeping an eye on chat. You might get the impression we're not listening. I don't expect you to listen. I expect you guys to hang out in chat and have a good time. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. Doesn't matter at all. Mayhem is calling someone a proper Class A arseweasel. I find that thoroughly approved. But thanks for coming in, Graham. Take care. I think he did. Yes. Right, so what I'm going to do is I shall leave that. We shall clean that up next time. I mean, it'll be ready to clean up in about half an hour. If you are filling with the glue, half an hour, 45 minutes with Tamiya Extra Thin is all you need really to let the glue cure to the point where it's sandable. But we'll leave it for now. I'll come back to it next week. What I'll try and not do is finish it throughout the week and then have nothing to show you next week. I'll try and just build this during the live stream now. Try. Try is the important word. I like the fact there's a chink taken out of the hole there, like a bit of damage. I like that. I'm annoyed I didn't spot that nub under there, but I said knob. I like the exhaust details there. Yes. So we'll sort that out next week, I think. Don't forget, of course, I am back tomorrow on the eModels channel for eModels live show at 9 PM. However, tonight, right, Chris, I need to tell me because I don't know. It's either Chris doing Warhamster Sunday at 8 PM on his channel, Gross Models, or it's Ted doing his Baneblade build on his channel, Skipper Scale Models, at 9, or it's both of them doing both of them on Chris's channel at 8 or 9. I don't know. Chris, can you tell me which time it is? I never quite know. I'll go and have a look on either Gross Models or Skipper Scale Models. It'll be one of the two. One of the two. Good. If we're just here to chat, I'll turn off the telly then. Lol. You might learn something there. You might miss something interesting. Paul Line says chicken and bacon pie in the oven and figures for M10 just drying onto the painting, so onto painting shells and bags and tarps for it. Is that an M10 Abrams? Or is that the personnel carrier thing? Well, Vietnam era, Korea era. Chris, are you still there? I don't know who's on tonight. I don't know who's streaming tonight. Nobody's answering. No. Chris, where are you? Why are you not there when I need you? Oh, ass. It's either Chris at Gross Models or it's Ted at Skipper Ted's. It's Skipper Scale Models. It'll be on both of their channels, probably pre-scheduled. So make sure you liked and subscribed and you've hit the notification bell for both their channels, just to make sure. One of the two. I never quite know which is which. Last week it was both of them on Ted's channel, so I don't know. Anyway, that's going to do me tonight. Don't forget, of course, thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. We'll carry on with this next week. Don't forget, of course, if you'd like to help support this channel and ensure that I can keep making contact for you, because I do this for my living and I desperately need money for food. I can't help it. Being a human, I need to eat. I know, it sucks, doesn't it? If you'd like to help support this channel, you can either become a patron at patreon.com/modelmakingguru, or if you prefer, you can become a YouTube channel member by hitting the join button underneath any one of my videos. Either way, you'll get cool access to most video content and we can advance advert-free. And you'll also be helping to support this channel. Other ways you can support the channel, of course, like and subscribe. You can use the links for Goblin Gaming and eModels down in the description below. They're affiliate links and they help me out because I get some income from that. Or if you want to, if you need to pick stuff up on Amazon, I am an Amazon affiliate and as an Amazon associate, I can't hang on. words. I am an Amazon associate. It's horrible to say. And as such, I earn from qualifying purchases. So there are links to my US, UK and Canadian Amazon stores down in the description below. You need to pick some stuff up. Check them out on there first. If you get them from Amazon store, you earn me a little bit of income. It doesn't cost you a penny. You can use them as well. So that's how you can help keep this going. Lynn Dipple says, Chris tonight. Okay, cool. So it's Chris over at Gross Models, probably at 8 o'clock, maybe half 8. I think 8 o'clock for Chris. So go and check it out. He'll be working on his, I think he's working on his Ork battle wagon. Yeah, all doing Orks at the moment. But yeah, check out those ways to support the channel. Keep yourself safe. I shall see you later for Chris's stream, unless I'm in the middle of making me dinner. Take care of yourselves. I will see you all tomorrow on the eModels live show at 9 PM on eModels YouTube channel. And I'll crack on with the Lehman Russ Tabletop Trauma Centre build throughout the week, hopefully, so stay tuned for that. I'm also trying to do, because we're in lockdown here in the UK, over the coming weeks, the next 3 or 4 weeks, I'm going to see if I can pop in the occasional live stream here and there. I might crack on with this during those live streams, or I might just do something else. I don't know yet what we'll do. But as and when I don't want to step on anybody else's live stream toes, so it might be, I don't know when it'll be, but it might be ad hoc at the last minute, so make sure you hit my notification bell so you don't miss anything. But I'll see if I can do some live streams just to give you guys stuff to watch while we're all stuck at home here in the UK. So, take care of yourselves. I'll see if my buttons still work. Hang on.
Slap it on.
Yep, they still work. Hooray! They took a second there. I thought they weren't working. So you get a bonus TED.
Slap it on.
You get a bonus TED from me. I shall see you all next week, or soon, when, I don't know. I'm talking rubbish now. More water. I need me dinner. Take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. Go stay safe. If you don't have to go out, don't go out. It's not worth the hassle. If you can stay indoors and run your daily life from indoors, stay the hell inside. Don't go out. People are awful. Everybody's made of disease. The world's on fire. Stay indoors if you can. If you don't have to go out, don't go out. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. I will see you all very soon. Adios, amigos.